like champagne chocolates. No.
I do, but if I get it.
Okay, good evening, everybody. My watch is a little bit behind my computer clock, which says that I am calling this special meeting of the Halifax Select Board to order. It is April 11th, 2026. It is 7:01 p.m. based on my clock here. The first thing that's on the agenda is to identify a minutes taker, but the first thing that I really need to do is do changes and additions to the agenda because we have our minutes taker. Emily Dow is on the call. And then I want to talk a little bit about other changes and additions to the agenda. We had a specific objective for this meeting to draft a letter to go to our representatives. And it is clear that there's a number of people in town who have interest in this topic. It's pretty much a single topic thing. So I'd like to format the meeting this way instead of how it is laid out today. For the first part of the new business, I want to do a setting of the stage, give you some background and history about what we're talking about. And it's not an alphabet soup, it's a numeric soup of different things that we're going to be referring to, and share some information from a recent webinar that was held, just a few clips to give a little bit more context. Then I'd like to go into hearing of visitors. And then we'll try to give you an opportunity to talk, but we also want to get to our objective, which is to draft this letter, finish drafting this letter. I'd also like to add at the end of the agenda to discuss some select board actions about some steps that I think we need to take in the short term. We have some people who are trying to do something that is kind, but that I fear is going to violate our personnel policy. And I just need some more advice and direction from the entire board on that. And I think I have a couple of next steps that we'll be able to talk about for that. So any objections to those changes? Okay, and I'm just going to note for the record that we have the whole board here. Lori Marcagiani is available remotely to us. And for those who are in the room, I don't know if we had presence of mind to ask people to sign in, but would one of you who was a more regular person grab that and pass that around for us? And that will get us a help with our minutes. Okay.
And actually, can we get everybody to say their name so we can?
Oh, sure.
I don't know if I know everybody.
Okay.
People look familiar, but I'm horrible with names. So can we just get everybody to?
Stephen Strait.
Okay.
April Dupley.
Nancy McCrae.
Marion Kennedy.
We're going together.
Dylan Saladino.
Mike Warner.
Caitlin Stone.
Joe Saladino Jr.
Olga Peters. I'm with the Deerfield Valley News. And
Thank you. And then online we have Leslie Pollitt and Emily Dow, who is our secretary. And then the two of those others are the two of us with our multiple computers. So thank you everybody for coming tonight. All right. Let's start with the numeric soup. I'm gonna read from the Wyndham Regional Commission page about the things that we're discussing tonight. This was part of the packet of information that the board got in advance. But Wyndham Regional Commission talks about the Act 250 Tier 3 and road rule. And so many of us are familiar with Act 250, which is a statewide land development permitting process. In 2024, Act 181 was enacted, and that included significant reforms to Act 250. Two specific areas of that larger bill where there have been a lot of questions are around the new Tier 3 jurisdiction and the road rules in Act 181. So Wyndham Regional Commission did host a public meeting. That meeting is accessible online. I watched a portion of it today, and I took a couple of sections that I thought might be salient to try to show us about what these laws are and where they are in their development. But let's talk about what Tier 3 is. Act 181 created a new tier system within Act 250 with different levels of jurisdiction for each tier. Historically, an Act 250 permit has been required based on the size of the proposed development or subdivision. With the new tier system, the permit requirements will be made based more on the location of the project. Tier 1 areas are planned for growth in and around village and downtown centers. And Act 250 jurisdiction would be reduced or eliminated in those areas. Tier 3 was established for areas with critical natural resources, and those would require an Act 250 jurisdiction, Act 250 jurisdiction for projects that are in Tier 3. Tier 2 is everywhere else, and that will mostly remain the same, except if a project is subject to what's called the road rule. So there's a new body called the Land Use Review Board, and they are responsible for developing the rules for Tier 3, including which resource areas to include and the types of projects that will require a permit. There is a web page with their draft rules and mapping, and the next version of those draft Tier 3 rules and mapping is expected to be ready in April. So there will be additional public engagement in May and June. So that's the Tier 3 part. Next is up the road rule. So Act 181 also created new jurisdiction under Act 250 for the construction of certain roads, commonly referred to as the road rule. The purpose was to encourage the clustering of development along existing roads and to reduce fragmentation of interior forests. Jurisdiction would apply to any single road greater than 800 feet. Private roads we're talking there, because there are exemptions for municipal roads, or when the length of the multiple roads and associated driveways is greater than 2,000 feet. So, envision that you're expecting a road out and then roads off, so driveways off of that, right? So that's the road rule. All right, so that's like kind of a portion of this. Presently in the legislature, there is a bill. It's not yet a law, but it's a proposed law called S325, which means it started in the Senate and it's actually been voted out of the Senate. S325, as it is drafted now, is being reviewed in the House, but essentially what it does is puts a time break on the Tier 3 and the road rule. So it's designed to say, time out, we're not ready to deal with this. Let's, instead of making these things start really quickly, they want to slow things down, slow walk it a little bit. So that's the law that that we can speak to our legislators about, because the legislation are the people who will be voting on that. It's past the Senate, being discussed in the House, still some time before the end of the session.
When is the end of the legislative session?
The legislative session tends to end like towards the end of the first week of May.
May, right, so we don't have a whole lot of time, okay.
We don't have, yeah, so we don't have a whole lot of time. The Vermont League of Cities and Towns has been, they have an advocacy section, and they have been saying that delaying these rules is critical to the membership there. And then I should also say, some people are saying those pieces should be rescinded entirely. So that's just kind of a little bit of the lay of the land. I've had a number of people ask me today, like, what is this about? And I'm like, it's about this law to kind of put the brakes on something we don't quite understand how it impacts us, right?
Could you mention the rural caucus, because that was
Yes.
that just came out April 9th, which is
Yes.
new information.
Yes, so there have been multiple groups speaking about this, saying this is a challenge for particularly small rural communities. And there is a group of legislators that are called the Rural Caucus. those folks got together, they submitted a letter to the Speaker of the House and the chair. And they said, they convened a session that had about 85 to 90 Vermonters to hear directly from rural Vermonters about what's working, what's not, and what the actionable steps the legislature can take in the final weeks of the session. And they said there's a, consistency among a wide range of voices. Participants expressed concern about the pace and implementation of Act 181, uncertainty created because the mapping is incomplete, and so forth. And our representative, Emily Karras Duncan of Whitingham, was one of the signatories on this. So they said, kind of to summarize this a little bit. First, if nothing else, the delays included in S 325 must pass this session. Additional time is necessary to align mapping, rulemaking, and implementation so that Vermonters, municipalities, and regional bodies can engage in a meaningful and informed way. And then they said, second, there is broad agreement among the undersigned, the people, all the legislators who signed this, that we should make amendments to Act 181 rather than delays. Their amendments include repealing Tier 3, repealing the road rule, and we support completing the accessory on-farm business work and expect the board to deliver final recommendations on that issue independent of the broader Tier 2 report. I got to tell you, I understand nothing of that last bullet
Yeah, me
point,
either.
right? And this is not where our attention has been focused. Our attention has been focused on these other two things. So this is definitely.
One more, that last.
Yeah. We support completing the accessory on-farm business work and expect the board to deliver final recommendations on that issue independent of the broader Tier 2 report. So Tier 2 is everybody else. I don't know what this accessory on-farm business work is.
Yeah, there's a big section of that in the bill
Okay.
itself.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, so,
Is that related to working farms?
um,
I know you don't know.
I don't
I
know.
think it's, I don't have a great knowledge about it, but I think it's to loosen things rather than restrict, but you should read it yourself.
Okay,
All right.
all right, yes, so that,
For
okay,
the farm part.
yeah,
There was something in there, and again, don't hold me to it either, because I did see it, I did read it, but I wasn't totally focused on all of it either, but it was about, I think this is the part where it talked about whether, municipalities could have control over, like, how many, chickens somebody could have, how many pigs somebody could have. Is that the part that's,
vaguely
Caitlin?
familiar.
Okay, there was something about that,
Because nobody knows nothing.
right?
Right, and they don't have that, they're trying to.
So I can show one map that's a draft map, but yeah, I mean, basically, am I accurate in saying that everybody on this board believes that there should at least be the slowdown for the Tier 2, Tier 3 and repealing the road rule? Like to just not repeal it, but to slow it down, to change the date so that it's not effective July 1st, 2026. I'm certainly on board with that much of the conversation.
At the very least, if
At
not
the
more.
very
Yeah.
least. Yeah.
Okay. And Lori? Lori, do you?
I agree. I agree at the very least also, yes.
Okay, so that much we have understood. There might be some nuances. One of the things that I love about this community and that also terrifies me at times is that I don't always agree with everybody here. So I may see some things that others might not agree with tonight, and I'm going to be okay with that. I hope you'll forgive me for being my own independent self as best I can. But all that to say, I think that we do have a variety of opinions within Halifax, right? It's never all or nothing. There's always a bit of a range and there's always a bit of a nuance, like what matters to me, right? And so anyway, all that to say, we want to get to a point where we can draft said letter. I wanted to share a couple of just brief, I think that they probably total to less than 10 minutes clips from a webinar that Wyndham Regional Commission hosted and one of the people who's speaking at this is the guy who is responsible from the Land Use Review Board for this tier 3 portion of it. So I want to start with the tier 3 piece. And I'm going to try to do this. This is a bit of tech, and I've got to get everything lined up. I'm hoping everybody will be able to hear what I'm going to put on the screen. Share. All right. So this is the tiers and responsibilities. I'm moving my computer, so hopefully the people online can hear it too.
5 to 9% of the state in this first draft of tier 3, broken up into these 3 areas that I just described. And again, we released this in October. We've gotten a lot of feedback since then. I'm in the process of revising the mapping right now. We're hoping to have a new version of the mapping available by the end of April so that folks can look at a second draft and have time to comment and think about that. And we're making some significant changes, which I can go into more when we look at some. I'm not going to bore you with the sections of the rule, which the rule and the mapping are available on our website. We have a page dedicated to tier 3. But I just wanted to let you know that in these tier 3 areas, we're structuring the rule so that jurisdiction is triggered only for development, for actual construction on the land, not for subdivision of a lot that happens to have tier 3 on it. Furthermore, Act 250 has kind of a bad name for a lot of folks because once a development project triggers Act 250 on, say, a 40-acre parcel, that permit attaches to the entire 40-acre parcel, even if the development was only on a small portion of it. Well, we don't want that to be the case in the tier 3 areas. We want the jurisdiction to be restricted to just the project area that is within the resource, within the tier 3 area itself, to try to winnow it down. We're also including a site-specific correction option because we know these maps are not 100% accurate, and we want landowners to be able to have a relatively easy process to come into one of our district coordinators and say, hey, you've got this spot on my property mapped as a tier 3 habitat connector. I want to do something there. Look at it. It's been a parking lot or part of my driveway, for the last 25 years. Your mapping is wrong. And so we're including a process in the rules where someone can present that, and a district coordinator can say, great, there's no jurisdiction here, easy out. All of the exemptions that apply through the Act 250 program, there are lots. This program has been around for a long time, and a lot of exemptions are built into statute, including farming, logging, forestry, most home occupations, accessory dwelling units for the moment. All of those existing exemptions will follow through within the tier 3 areas. So even though these are sensitive natural resource areas, these types of land uses and development that are exempt from Act 250 will still be exempt in these tier 3 areas. And we are adding additional exemptions to try to make sure that we don't capture run-of-the-mill development. We don't want someone who's putting an addition on their house that happens to be near a tier 3 area to need an Act 250 permit. And so we're working through changes to the early draft to make sure that doesn't happen, and make sure that if your septic system fails and the only place you have to put it is in a tier 3 portion of your property, that you can do that. And you don't need an Act 250 permit for that sort of development. So this is where I'll end the presentation side. I'm happy to show some maps next because I think folks might like to see.
Okay, so that was a little bit of conversation about tier 3. And keep in mind, this person, the Land Use Review Board, the legislature said what to do. These guys are trying to figure out how to do it. And that's why I was like, oh, okay, good. People can challenge the maps, right? Just gave me a little bit more comfort that there will be processes in place that will help people say, hey, I just want to put an addition on the back of my house.
Did he
that will
give
be-
you a timeline for how that is? Because that just
So-
sounds like a regulatory
Yeah,
nightmare for everybody who wants to fix their
and-
septic or do something.
Yeah.
You're gonna get in a backlog for the entire state. Like, do you have to get in line with the entire state?
So I will say that another clip that I want to play, he is on the Land Use Review Board. They have also gone to the legislature and said, you need to give us more time. Right? So they are on board with this H 325 because they know they've got stuff they want to hear from people about. They have stuff they need to figure out, right? So they are also on board with the delay, with a delay. And he did say that the legislation gives a longer delay than they had even requested. And so that, again, the legislation is in draft. It could be changed, a little or substantially. We don't know. But the fact that the people who are supposed to be developing the how are saying, can we do a timeout? I think that gave me like, I'm not in quite the same panic mode.
But have they gotten into what is the dispute resolution? Because that's where, having a group, what are they called again? The the land use, LURB. Nobody elects them. Well, no, nobody,
True.
right? Nobody elects them. Somebody
They
must.
were appointed by the
All
governor.
right, so they're
Yep.
appointed. I don't know
Yep.
how long they're there for.
Yep.
They're just gonna be churning stuff, because now they're sort of scrambling and trying to get it right, but then you've got somebody who maybe they don't know, what's the burden on a town like ours, and what's a burden on people sitting here and listening from Halifax, that they now have to go get around this Act 250 business because they have a failed septic, or I don't know, the map
Yeah.
is wrong and they didn't know it was wrong, and then all of a sudden it's this big ordeal, and it's not easy to change this stuff. It's not like you
Yeah.
can just kind of go to your local person and say, oh yeah, this is wrong, can we
Yeah.
sort this
What
out?
about subdivision? What happened to that?
So he just stated on here that the
That's-
tier
that's-
3
that's-
does not impact subdivisions.
Alright.
You will be able to subdivide regardless of whether you get. That, well, that's not necessarily true, depending on like the nature. The nature of the thing would be like, let's say you had a swampy part of your property and you wanted to sell that to somebody else. Then you can subdivide it, and that person who buys it might need to go through the Act 250 process. So that doesn't mean they
But-
can't develop, it just means they might have to go through that
But
process.
who's deciding on any parcel of any size, what part of that parcel
Land-
is eligible for
Yep.
the requirement of stepping into 250, when otherwise you're like, okay, I'm well inside my borders and I wanna put my grandma's house or something. I mean, how, where does that person go to figure out what they can do? Is it the local zoning board?
It will be,
Who's looking out for that person?
so I'm gonna say that I've been through, from being on the town board and Act 250 processes.
Okay.
And they can be very onerous. They also can be, and they can be very expensive. They also can be not a big deal. Some things don't end up raising to the level of this is an Act 250 review. One of the examples in Halifax that I can speak to on that was that somebody was trying to get, there was a person who was putting a cannabis grow facility on their property. And I don't think that ended up being, because I don't think it could be Act 250. All of that to say, right, there's always a spectrum of how these things work. I don't think that there's going to be any change to the fact that there is our own district commissioners. And those people, one of the names I saw, and I know they've been doing this for a long time, those people would be the ones to help to get people through that Act 250 process.
If
If they had
somebody
to.
who had an issue, and I apologize if I'm messing with the flow. If somebody has an issue, they don't come to the town, they don't come to their neighbors, they don't come to people who know them. They go to a district, and then they get behind everybody else in the district. And then does the district have to go to the state? Or does the district get to say yes or no? And then if they don't like what the district said, do you have to appeal it? Like, I mean, that's the question.
Yeah, and
that I have.
Yes, but we're not totally sure yet.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's fair.
Can I just share a scenario?
Uh-huh.
So first off, I'll just preface this by saying Vermont is an expensive place to live and young people can't afford to buy houses here anymore because they're unaffordable. So we have 3 children and my husband and I purchased 60 acres with the intent of one day subdividing it so our children could stay in the town that we love
Mhm.
and build a home if they chose to do that. How is this going to affect us?
Well, and that's a great, absolutely a great question. I think that because the maps are not yet complete, we won't necessarily be able to answer that question. And you know, again, this is the kind of thing where I really encourage people to so everyone here in this room is also welcome to contact their state legislator, right? And share those kinds of
And please
concerns.
do.
Yeah,
That-
please.
And also, so there's that aspect, and then there's the aspect of talking to these people, right? They are going to be doing more public meetings, getting in and talking to them because they're the experts and they're the ones who are defining the how. We don't, I don't want this to be anything that prohibits people from doing normal things that we've done for years, right? You know, you want to have your kids
And-
nearby.
And
Yeah.
remind all of us, what is the part of this legislation that people need to note that limits subdivision?
Yeah.
That restricts subdivision? What is the part? Because
It-
I've come
Yeah.
aware of this very recently. It hasn't been very long, but I've been
Yeah.
really trying to catch up. I haven't found anything that explains what a single parcel, certainly not in our town, in Halifax, how that is going to be impacted. And it's sort of like, if we're saying we're delaying it, okay, we're delaying it, but it's sort of legislation that we don't really know where it's going to go, but we're working for you, we're here you, right? Versus repeal it, then bring in, do the work, do the mapping, spend, I don't care, the next 10 years telling people what's going on. And then people can understand, like, okay, that works for our community or it doesn't. But it just seems to me that nobody, and I apologize if there's something here or there's somebody on there who can tell people with some assurance, yeah, you're gonna be fine with your farm, with your family. Whether you've got 60 acres or 10 acres or 2 acres, if you want to split it up or do something, we have the ability to do that within our own zoning. And so why do we need this land use review board to really kind of to scare us? Like, really? I mean, that's like, I haven't heard anything positive about these guys yet. It's like they're just there to scare us. And so how are we supposed to feel about that?
Dylan has his hand on.
Yeah, but like, even if it's not a subdivision, I mean, if you worked your butt off, you got a decent piece of property, if you wanna build a garage or a barn or just expand everyday life that's suitable for you, so. Like, how is that also gonna be affected just in, like, let's say like half my property is cut off by the map. Then what?
Yeah, so,
And like,
yeah, I mean,
you work your butt off every day just to try to get those nice things, but then.
And
all of a
you don't
sudden,
know
if
what-
everything's changing, that you gotta have more money for permits, and then you don't even know if you could build what you want.
And you don't know where your property is with the map because you haven't collaborated with anybody to define the map. The map is being sort of handed to you after the fact, and you're like, well, I didn't know I had this bad situation.
Mm.
And now you have to jump through, can't even tell people how many hoops to get their input, like, oh yeah, that was a mistake, we shouldn't have done that,
well,
or sorry.
I would
Yeah,
just
Martha-
like, I would just like to say too that, I know my first thought was, gosh, tier 3, you know, and as much as I've tried to look up to figure out where tier 3, where any of this mapping is, it seems like the 1A and 1B or whatever the initial, and the 2 are easier to find, but where can I find my land on where can I look it up to find out what tier 3 is? Does tier 3 affect me? I've looked, I've done a lot of searching, and maybe
let
somebody
me
can
show you,
share.
Lori. Let me show you. Let me show you. Again, this is a draft map. This is a draft map, but it is on the land use review board's website. And again, this is not to scare people. This is just to say, this is their draft number 2. Draft number 3 is coming out in April. And this is Halifax, and it does show parcels, and it does show the areas that have met the subgroup of criteria that they looked at. There were a bunch of things they said, we're not gonna worry about, they're not gonna worry about,
What does, yeah,
sorry?
Can you give us like a reference point of?
Yeah,
what is that?
Route 112 in the bottom left corner.
right there.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
here's 112.
Where's Branch Road?
Branch Road is here. Here's my house. Feel free to come up and take a quick look, people.
But what do the colors mean while
So-
everybody figures out where they are?
So
What do the
it's-
colors
it's- You
mean?
can understand the stuff that is in the green, the various green colors are the things that they are preliminarily designating tier 3. There's probably a lot more to this.
And what's the yellow?
I don't know.
Probably
Again,
2.
it's,
So this is why.
but Karen,
A lot of what ifs in it. I don't know.
that's correct. That is totally correct because
Well,
this
yeah, I
is
might
a
do the
draft.
same.
This is a draft, okay? Yes.
If you have that like on a laptop and you hit on things, it gives you more details. I can't read it. It'll say like 800 foot buffer, 2,000 foot buffer.
Yeah, there's different things on the
I
left.
couldn't figure it all out, but
Yeah.
if you do go into all those things,
It'll tell you what the
Tell you
criteria
different
is
stuff.
that they felt meant that they should take a closer look.
looking
But what's the criteria?
Sorry about that.
Why?
There's a bunch of different issues. Okay.
us alone.
I don't understand what this is. though.
All right.
I don't even
So,
understand.
Let me just say from like, one of the things I want to convey to people is that we are in the middle of a process here. We're not at the end of the process. And I will do my best to give you some understanding that yes, these maps have been drafted, but they're going to continue to refine them. And if you are an interested citizen, you will be able to go to this website and they are going to be doing more sessions, trying to tell people what their interest was, what they were trying to achieve. And then again, as we saw, there were a lot of things that they were exempting. You will still be able to build an addition on your house, right? So I want to just kind of
Addition.
So I'm sorry,
That's an addition though.
right, I'm really struggling to
It's not-
understand what this map is showing, because I see 112.
That's it.
I see,
Is this Halifax Center?
yeah, where's
Right
Halifax Center?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I think
Like what?
Halifax, yes, Halifax Center is here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The village, you mean?
No,
No,
like
that's-
up on top.
Okay.
Halifax Center, this is the
Like-
village.
Where the mailboxes are.
Yeah.
That's,
So I don't want to dive too deep in the details here, but I wanted to just say that.
and
this is
wait,
correct.
what is the stuff that's not green? Everything else?
So
That's life as usual?
I,
We don't know.
so there's 3 tiers, right? There's 3 tiers. One is village areas, tier 1. Tier 3 is this, and tier 2 is going to be all the fill-in, right? So this map was presented as a tier 3 map.
So tier 2, the fill-in where they tell you what kind of animals you can have on your property.
No, I don't think that Act 181 spoke to that issue.
This is what I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
Go ahead, Stephen.
In terms of delaying this,
Mhm.
the date that I've heard floated around was to 2030.
Yes,
So it's a better part of 4+ years
yeah,
for people to work this out.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think if we
So it
say
sounds-
no, let's
no,
repeal it,
no.
they've got 3 years to come back to us, right?
So if it's a 4-year pause, it sounds like there's room or space for trying to figure things out, make comments,
Or a kibosh, huh?
and
Yeah.
either
Yep,
modify it,
it might come back and
not
say,
have it go through.
yeah, we decided this
But
is a great
I
idea.
think the issue is not to try and decide good, bad, or ugly. The issue is to try and decide reasonably, what are they trying to do, and is it working or not working? And
But what's the test?
It's sort of very
Yeah, just
extreme
why,
views of it.
why?
So hang on just a second.
Why is it
Let's have
And-
one person talk to the
And,
finance. Let's
and the
Steve.
why, to answer the question, the why tier 3 seems to be happening is to protect forest areas, sensitive ecological areas, and to protect habitat connect.
Right, but that is.
Well, no,
somebody's
isn't that
property.
all this conservation land? Because when I look at the WRC map, half of Halifax is in like conservation land. So how
This
is
is-
that?
This is an additional layer on top of that.
So people are
People-
already,
people
wait a minute,
working.
wait, so people are already, I just want to understand. So this is I'm sorry, you guys can't see it. The dark green, this is Halifax, map we're probably all more familiar with. The dark green is rural conservation. This kind of bluish is rural agriculture and forestry. And the yellow, smaller parcels, I guess, is rural general. And then the village center, this is us, right, that's right there, I guess, town. So most of us are in this green and blue, which is already subject to regulations of some kind for conservation.
Well, it seems like they want to
This
make it a
is-
little more difficult. That's what it seems like. I'm not sure.
Right, so but that's what I'm trying to figure out. So what is in it for Halifax to say, regulate me more? I have, regulate me more. Why do Halifax residents want to say regulate me more? Because
Well,
we already have conservation.
yeah, and that's,
It needs to be repealed.
Mike, did you have something to say?
Statement.
Huh?
A statement.
Yeah.
What's the town plan when all this goes through and say these taxpayers with big parcels can't do something, whether it be something extreme or minor, but they have all the setbacks for the town requirements, and then this stuff goes through and they, oh, you can't do that because it's a tier 3 or whatever. At that point, if I was a big landowner, I would come to the town and say, I want to be tax exempt. I mean, you got property you can't do anything with.
Right.
And there's been some talk about how do you adjust your tax base, and that's another unknown. So right, so it sounds like a logical, okay, we hear you, we're gonna try and fix it so you don't have this burden. Which is okay, fine, but it's sort of, it's like, trust me, I'll get there and I'll do it. We haven't done it today. This goes into effect in July. This isn't like it's not gonna go into effect. A lot of this is going into effect in July. A bunch of it is getting pushed back, so they say, but we don't know yet as of today, as far as I can tell.
We can weigh in to ask them to delay it.
And we can also ask them to repeal it.
Sure, we could.
We can do
Yes.
all of these
Yes.
things. And the rural
Yes,
group
do
said,
nothing. In
the
fact,
rural
yeah.
caucus and our representative Emily Karras Duncan said, one of 57 people that said repeal. At a minimum, you got to delay, and they all understood that, but at a minimum, repeal. But anyway, but my question was, and I think also to Mike's point is, okay, so there's going to be presumably some kind of tax adjustment, like, okay. If there's some tax adjustment because they have to change the mill rate to reflect something because of how this is set up, how is that going to impact a little town's budget? Like, okay, now this guy's not paying tax anymore. And what happens to people's property values? Like now, like who wants to buy that? You can't do anything with it
Somebody
ever.
who doesn't want any neighbors.
Well, yeah,
Like
but
one
that's
of
not
the
how the
big
world
trees,
works,
right?
right? That's
Yeah.
not how the world works. Land ownership has always been one of this country's largest creators of wealth in our country forever. If you owned land, you had a piece of the world and somebody had to buy it from you. And land values have pretty much gone up unless there's some kind of disaster, in which case it craters and you're done. It's hard to come back from that. And so I think that's driving, and I think Halifax, we're a little late to this game. I think there's a lot more going on in Vermont. They've gotten ahead of us a little bit, but I don't know. I'm just mystified that a government would do this.
So I think we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves.
Yes, I think we do.
I think the reason we're in this situation, the reason I guess we're all here is because people are upset that the state kind of pushed this thing through without anybody really knowing what was going on. There's so many unknowns. There's what we see does not look good to a lot of people.
They don't know either.
Well, right, and they don't know either. And I think a lot of people are upset kind of as to what April said. If you read a lot of this stuff in the bill, in the S 325, the word resources is used a lot, and it's talking about land. And those resources that they're talking about are people's property. So
Yeah, it's that what's in it for me? How does this affect me?
so
And we don't know.
I think what we can do tonight is, I think we should listen to people, let people talk. But I think us talking about, where this is gonna go, I
We
think
don't
that's a
know.
moot point right now.
Yeah,
I think
we don't know.
what we can do tonight is look at this letter that we are drafting or have started the draft. Do it, change it, amend it, whatever we gotta do, and send it. That is really all at this moment our board can do,
Correct.
other than recommend that everybody please get a hold of their representatives and senators.
And we're having this conversation today on a Saturday because we sort of started learning about it very recently. And we want to make sure that whatever letter goes out is on people's desks first thing Monday morning.
Yeah.
Right. That was kind of, that's why tonight got magic.
I feel like I've lost faith in the state of Vermont because they're quick to pass laws and then figure it out afterwards. I've seen this with the schools, like how they, there are different acts through the schools and different things, and it's frustrating. And I think before they pass an act or a law, they should have all of it figured out. They should have done the research, thought about the impacts before. And it's frustrating and discouraging to see this happen time and time again in Vermont. I don't think it's fair for the citizens of Vermont to have to worry about it and try to repeal acts that should have not ever passed before the work was done. And I don't know, I feel like because the legislative session ends in so early in May, they're quick to like, well, we gotta pass this and then we'll just figure it out after, but that's really wrong.
It is. That's why leaving like a partial blank slate to do what you want is not the way the bill should be written.
And then you're sitting for 3 years not knowing what's my land, how does my land, what's the disposition, and so God forbid something happens and you have to sell, or God forbid you're now in a gray area that lasts for at least 3 years, if not more. So
I would like to share one more clip that talks about the road rule, just because it clarified some points for me as well. And Laura, you guys online could hear this, right? Probably wasn't great audio, but you could
Yes.
hear it.
No, it was great. I could hear it just fine.
Yeah, me too. It was really clear.
All right, let's see. No, I'm not sure if this is the right one. Oh, yeah.
It's WRC, yeah.
Is this different than we started before? Sorry if I tried to get.
Construction jurisdiction provision.
Yeah, okay.
It's unlike the tier 3 areas, which is sort of a surgical tool to identify sensitive areas where more development might need an Act 250 permit. The road construction provision is admittedly a blunt tool. So this is written into statute from Act 181. The legislature essentially was codifying a rule that used to be in effect in Act 250. Act 250, where road development, road construction can trigger the need for an Act 250 permit. And so this provision, which takes effect July 1st of this year, says that any new road longer than 800 feet requires an Act 250 permit. And any new driveway longer than 2,000 feet requires an Act 250 permit. Again, with a bunch of exemptions. This doesn't apply to state municipal roads or utility roads. It doesn't apply to roads that are primarily for farming or forestry. And it doesn't apply in these tier 1 areas where we're trying to reduce Act 250 permitting. But it does apply everywhere else. And that everywhere else is a sizable chunk of the state. So what I would tell you is, I can show you some mapping on this, is that my board has been in front of the legislature in the last few weeks to tell them 2 things. One is we think we need more time. So tier 3, for example, is supposed to go into effect at the end of this calendar year, December 31st, 2026. And this road construction jurisdiction provision is supposed to go into effect July 1 of this year. We recommended to the legislature that they push those dates out. We think that both our board and Vermonters need more time to understand and be able to comment and help shape this new policy. And the reception we got in at least the Senate Natural Resources Committee was positive. And the bill that they voted out last Friday, which is S325, for those of you who pay attention to what's going on in Montpelier and like to watch bills, S325 actually pushes it out further than we even recommended. The bill would delay the implementation of Tier 3 jurisdiction to 2028 and would delay this road construction provision to 2030. So we'll see where that bill goes. It's gotta get a vote by the full Senate, probably sometime later this week or maybe next week, and then it will head to the House for them to discuss and decide whether they think it should be the way the Senate crafted it or maybe somewhat differently. And then if it passes the House or some version of it does, differences need to be worked out between the House and Senate, and then it would need to go to the governor for signature. So there's a long road to go in terms of that bill and whether we're going to see some change to the effective dates of these expansions of Act 250 jurisdiction. But my board and I are hopeful that we will see that, and we'll be in front of the House committees that will be discussing this soon to continue to advocate that extensions make sense, and that both the board from a technical standpoint and sort of a workload standpoint and Vermonters need more time to get this right. Okay, sorry, that was a lot.
All right, so that's what I wanted you to hear a little bit more about the process, because again, if you want to weigh in, again, multiple things you can do, legislators about S325, and then also these people who are doing the regulation people are also going to, if the law gets repealed, they're never going to sort out any of this, right? They're not going to be able to come back with a more definitive plan because they won't have any funding to get that done, right? It just won't be an effort, which is why that concern about chicken or egg, right? Like, how do we know what we need until can we study it, but we're not going to get the money to study it if we don't have some sense that this had some intention. The intention for this part encourage clustered design that does not fragment tier 2 areas or tier 3 areas, particularly for forest fragmentation. So that's a little bit more about that. And I wanted to kind of give you guys just a note that while all of us could spend a lot of time trying to get up to speed on this, I thought those 2 clips would be useful ones.
Those were helpful
to give you an idea of where things actually are, as opposed to, maybe quite too much concern about that the sky is falling today. It's not going to fall today. It's going to fall soon.
No, if you don't save it today, it may.
Well, that's why we're here. That's why we're here, right? We're trying to figure out what can this board do to express our concerns about that.
Yeah, it was 2028, not 2030, correct?
The tier 3, yeah.
So 28 for tier 3 and 2030 for the road rule.
Yeah.
But then,
Yeah.
I thought the road rule currently is July 1st,
Right.
unless they do something.
Yeah.
And the something is gonna be 2030 for the road rule.
Mhm.
And I don't know, and then I guess December, it's supposed to be tier 3, and then they push that 2 years.
Mhm.
So they're just asking, and they said most of Vermont was gonna be tier 2, so we still don't know what that's all about, and that
Yeah, it's
must go into
stuff
effect in
that's-
July, right? So that goes into effect in July if nothing happens, right? Because they haven't
I-
talked about pushing that back, so then tier 2.
It sounded.
So we're all just waiting now to find out for 2 years what our land
Right, yeah, and
is
again,
all about.
I would encourage people to try to catch up with this land use review board, find their meetings, listen to them, go give public comment about it. The one thing I wanted to say about the road rule, again, trying to offer a little bit of a different perspective, but when I think about development in the town of Halifax, the one thing I don't think we need any more of is roads. Because the minute we have more roads, we have to pay more taxes, right?
Yeah.
So when I think about these, and I think here they're really talking more
Private road.
commonly about a private road. But I gotta tell you, every time a private road is built, those people can come petition the select board and say, we want it to be a road that you guys deal with. We've got an instance of that in Wheeler Road right
You
now,
can say
right?
no.
Exactly.
We can, but it does put a heck of a lot of work on the board to go through those processes. And I just, like, it feels to me like there's room for more people here, right? That we don't have a dearth of roads that people could come and, you know, share and be part of our community. So,
But if somebody wants to subdivide and they need to put a road in, is this legislation obviating that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So how does that help us as a tax base? Because now we've
Depending
got
on
that
the-
many fewer families
I guess it-
participating
I guess it
in
dep-
our better good.
yeah, I think it depends on, again, it depends on how you subdivide and, you know, so 2,000 feet of a driveway, I don't know. I'm gonna just try to add a little bit of humor in here. I once said recently, I'm like, I'm only gonna become friends with people in Halifax who have flat driveways. Did you ever try to get to your friend's house and you're peeling out all the way? Anyway, so that, you know, that, like, how is the land laid out? I can't tell you, but I can tell you that there are portions of Halifax that got divided up into little tiny spaghetti lots before we had, you know, perhaps the zoning that we have now, right? They're really tiny. And those things to me, it's, you know, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like, we want to contribute to unthoughtful, where should we grow?
But
And-
isn't that
this-
what we're doing? Because we don't know how this is working. So
No, I think
There-
what this is doing is it's trying to put a framework on how things will run across Vermont. And, you know, there's a difference between Halifax, who has zoning, and Guilford, who has none, right? This will give some consistency to the state, across the state, for small towns that don't, you know, we don't have a big budget and a big staff to kind of research all this stuff. In some cases, the state having regulations can help the town get through more complex issues, such as when we need an Act 250 permit,
But we
right?
don't know the regulations now with this, so that's.
We don't.
Kind of on the
I'm-
come.
I'm very much in favor of us saying, let's go ahead and ask them to slow walk this. Personally, I'm not sure that I'm ready to say this is so terrible that it needs to be rescinded. I would like to see more data.
But then
That's-
or just as just a point of clarification,
Yeah.
because everybody, all of us said, and I'm sure everybody in the room is, at a minimum, delay is good.
Correct.
The longer the better. They didn't say that, but they seem to think that 2 years. Now, they've been working on this. It's now 2026. My understanding was they started this
The law was passed in 2024.
24, so they've had 2 years to get to this point where all of Vermont is up in arms. So they didn't do a real good job of their process for 2 years. So now we have to wait 2 years to hope they've done a better process to get
But they have.
to a more fair resolution
They have-
for
they-
the bulk of Vermont. And nobody's talking about the bulk of Vermont, which is the tier 2. And none of us know if we're tier 2 or tier 3 or
Yeah.
anything.
And I think-
We all know we're not tier 1, pretty sure. But for the most part, right, so that if they want to promote housing, which we all want to do, and promote conservation, which we all want to do, nobody doesn't not
Yeah.
want to do that. Everybody wants to do that. We're not, Rutland, who has it, and they want to
Yeah.
promote housing. Like, how do we promote housing? And if we're promoting housing with our own, friends and family and, people are buying into the community for whatever reason, it seems like the 2 years or 3 years or however many years is not putting the risk on the government for deriving a proper solution. It's putting the risk on the independent landowner who doesn't have a whole lot of resources, and the burden of getting the map right is on the landowner. The burden of deciding, well, this is how I want to develop my land, even if it's just splitting it up for all my kids. That burden is now on us, and we already have a town plan. We're updating it now, but we have a town plan. We have a zoning board.
Right.
So we have the ability to do what we need to do. I mean, just recently, somebody was doing something on a conservation area. It seemed like the whole town showed up and said, nope, can't do that.
Right,
And we didn't need.
No, he actually could. He got wrong information.
Okay.
And I feel like we have to remember that.
Okay, if he did, fine, okay, but the whole town sort of showed up when they were unhappy about something. And that created some momentum, and it wasn't the LURB who aren't elected, who are just some overseer to tell us what we can and can't do, right?
so, and it's, in the end, again, it's a more local regional group that would still be administering Act 250 permits.
What's
like
their
they
hook
do
to us? What is their allegiance to us?
Um,
Right? We're
I-
not electing them. We don't necessarily live in, I mean, who,
Do they-
these people could be anybody, right? And I'm sure they're all great people. I'm not saying that they're not great people, but it's not it's just another layer
It is a
of
layer. It is a layer.
of someone another group where you're like, well, I don't know all the answers. This guy's telling me what we have to do, and these are the rules that we're following.
Another thing to consider in my eyes is, so if this is extended for till 2028, we have to all be really vigilant about following the legislation and make sure and constantly watching what goes on, because it's exhausting to follow this and try to read everything every day, but you feel like you can't trust in your government to do the right thing. And so we have to all really pay attention and be constantly checking on what they're doing, what they're passing, what the next step is, being there for comments. And that's the part that is frustrating, really, that we have to follow so closely because we can't count on our government to be honest with us.
So I'm gonna just make a comment, which is democracy is hard. It's hard to put your time and energy into deciding how we all want to be governed. And no, you don't get a free ride, right? You don't get to just say, oh, I'm not gonna worry about it. But I still think democracy is the best way to do it.
I still feel though that this is eliminating local control, and I think that's a shame.
I think it's adding a layer. It's completely eliminating it because it's not overriding our zoning. We're still gonna have a zoning board. They're
But
still
if we're
gonna
in
get on
conflict,
local-
if the zoning board is in conflict with the state regulation or whatever it is, however it does.
State law might trump,
Yeah,
it should
so
be that.
we're actually not, we're just sort of, it's like, well, we feel like we have control, but we really don't, because when push really comes to shove, it's already decided.
Right.
And
Well, it's
Right.
decided that there's a process to decide, right? I mean.
But there's no process to dispute, and that's the whole
Regulation.
part, right? There's no process to dispute. That's been articulated, that's not a burden, an excess burden on someone who only owns 10 acres, or owns 60 acres, or owns 1,500 acres. In the entire state, you're like, yeah, you're only 1,500 acres, I'll get to you.
All right, so I want to shift gears briefly. I want to go through the public comment section, and what I would like to have from people is a fairly brief statement of what your perspective is on these issues. And then we're going to come back and do the work that we need to do to get that. Is that everybody good with that? Okay. You want to start us off? Sat in the front row.
See the map. I would like the act repealed. I just think it's overstep of the government to tell property owners what they have the right to do on their property.
Okay.
I second that. I would encourage you to request the act be repealed.
Okay. Stephen.
I would be more interested in a delay and trying to see what issues and how the public plays out with this, because there's an opportunity to have a little more protection for forests and for habitat mechanisms, which I think need protection.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
I'd like it repealed because I think if you don't have the wealth, or if you have the wealth and you don't have children and you're able to conserve land, then great. But for people that don't have the wealth and can barely afford to live here and pay taxes and keep what you have conserved somewhat, it's already a hardship. And you know, we do have some pretty good zoning, and we have conservation districts. Act 250. It can be very cumbersome.
Yes. Yeah, thank you.
So are you on the, I'm trying to keep track, you want to repeal or delay side?
Yeah, and I agree, because I think that we have enough laws as it already is. Why do we need more? I wouldn't feel it.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I forgot your name already.
Mackenzie.
Mackenzie.
It's your land, you should be able to do whatever you want with your own land, so. Like, you're the one that pays the taxes and everything on it, so. You should be able to do what you want, when you want on your land.
Okay.
So are you, trying to keep track of repeal or delay? Because that's only because that's how we're crafting the letter. So that,
Repeal.
I'd like to repeal it. I feel the same way. You work your butt off all year long to just try to afford what you got, and now with all this coming through, you can't. Even if you ran in some extra money and just wanted to better your life, you can't do that, or even for your kids. So I would like to repeal it.
Okay. Caitlin, I'm going same direction.
I think everyone knows how I feel, but definitely repeal it. I know what it cost Mike and I 10 years ago to subdivide off my family's land. And luckily we were given land, you know, because that's what families do. We pass it down for generations. So I was lucky in that aspect. But I can't foresee kids who want to stay here, that are raised here, born here, how they're going to be able to afford that. And I feel so terribly sorry for them, because I mean, I don't even know if we can afford to stay here if this goes through. And that's terrible to say, you know? So repeal it, please. I'm asking you.
Okay. Well, we don't have the power to do that, but
I'm not saying you do.
We're hearing
I'm
your
on the
vote.
repeal side.
Okay, yes, great, thank you. Olga, I'm gonna skip over you if you don't mind, since you're not a resident. Okay. And I.
That would be Mr. Saladino. I repeal.
Okay, all right,
I
Mike,
repeal.
Repeal, 100%.
okay, and then Leslie, online?
Yeah, I feel pretty strongly to delay, because I think that we don't have the information. We're all getting very scared about what's going to happen. And one of the things I love about Vermont is that they look at the big picture, you know, and they're trying to help more housing come into towns, even like ours, in a way that can make it affordable, and while at the same time allowing for climate change and what's happening to have some level of protection. So I just think we need more information before getting so panicked. And we can do that. We can get a delay, really understand. Maybe we would end up really liking it. We just don't know at this point. So I'm on the delay.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, so with that,
Just one other question.
of course,
How do you see this act helping to encourage home building in Halifax? How will it help our housing crisis?
I mean, everything's so expensive. Anybody that's built here is from out of state anyway, so.
So,
only the rich would be able to live here. Only the rich.
so in terms of how do we see this helping with housing? I think that the intention of the law and the piece of the law that we didn't talk a whole lot about, but these tier 1 areas, they've eliminated Act 250. If we have a tier 1A or 1B area, which I think it's more designed for towns that have septic and village water. But if we had that and somebody wanted, let's say we had it here in the village and somebody wanted to come in and build a 10 room apartment, a 10 apartment building with 10 apartments. I don't even know how you say that because we don't have them here. But that they would be able to do that without going through an Act 250 permit. So here in Halifax, I don't know. And I think housing is a big, I'd love to have like another community conversation about what does housing look like here. I mean, I don't think we And I don't think we have a good sense of how we would envision putting new houses and where would we expect that they would be best put, right?
So where we stand now, we don't see a potential benefit in creating housing in Halifax if this act is passed.
Just like most of the rest of this, I don't think I have the answer because I don't think I know what our tier one areas are at this point.
But I don't think we qualify because we don't have sewer and septic.
I don't know
So
the
I think we're
details of the,
excluded, right?
I don't know the details of the law, but yeah.
So it just seems like there's not an actual benefit housing wise, it only creates a burden in Halifax.
That
I'm
may,
sure there's more,
Based on the information we have.
and I'm sure there's more towns in the state of Vermont that are just like us.
there are a lot of towns, and there are a lot of towns that are having these kinds of same conversations, absolutely. Yep. Okay, are we ready to get into some drafting?
Sure.
All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing. If I already did I already did? And so,
Can the
yeah,
board say what they feel?
sure.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think we should delay. We're gonna talk about a draft that has been started, or kind of completed. And I mean, there's things in there that I don't agree with personally. And I think that, if we delay, if we go to, defeat this thing, repeal this thing, we're just writing a letter to the state, to our legislatures. Are they gonna actually listen to us? We're not sure. I mean, we hope they will, but if you're trying to sell something, you try to sell something as hard as you can, because a lot of times people want to, bargain back and forth. So if we go to ask them to repeal, they still might not repeal, they might delay. But if we ask them to delay, they might not delay. So I feel like we should delay. I mean, repeal, sorry, repeal. Yeah.
Last call, delay or repeal?
Repeal,
Okay.
for sure. And actually, I'd like to say something else too. This is probably gonna step on some people's toes, but I personally don't feel like there is a housing crisis. I feel like we have a policy crisis. Just wanted to state that.
A town policy or a broader? bigger
Broader.
policy?
All right, we need to explore that, maybe not tonight.
Yeah.
Housing, okay. Karen,
I'm on the repeal side for everything I've already said, I think.
okay. Rhonda,
Repeal.
okay, Lori,
Repeal also.
okay. I'm on the delay side. All right, so let's go ahead and craft this letter and see where we land. And then we will, and so. Yeah, let's get into drafting a letter. And then I'll share some more. Well, I'll share comments.
And could I ask just a quick question, and this is just more, and none of us want to be here any longer than we have to, but related to the road rule? Because during the clip, the fellow said something about the road rule, that it had happened, and then he sort of very quickly went, it came back. And again, I'm reading things, so I tried to keep track on here of where I saw stuff, but not there, that there was a road rule. And I don't know what the parameters of the road rule were, but there was a road rule once upon a time. And developers figured out a way to kind of do all kinds of contortions that might not be, terrific for the environment or whatever, the land, but they were able to say, well, I'm a foot under whatever that number is. And then the state recognized that it wasn't working. And again, I hope that I don't know if I'm saying something that's actually valid, but what I read was that then the state repealed it. I don't know for how long. And then now the state has come back and said, and I don't know what's different about it, but that if you're a big enough developer, you can figure out a road, you can engineer your way into getting under the wire. But you can't if you're, just a landowner, or, even if you're a big family farm.
Right.
Yeah, I don't.
But I don't know.
2,000 foot.
Well, just that,
800
was there, I guess my question more broadly, and we don't know, is did Vermont have a road rule of some description that then was rescinded, and then now we have another one?
I think
Is more question, because I may have misread something.
no, and the recording, there were a couple points where his voice dropped and I couldn't quite hear it.
Yeah, I think he
I
sped
think he-
through that little bit, that little detail. He's like, he said, we had it and then when I were doing this other thing. And so the timeline between those two things got pinched,
Mhm.
so I didn't hear it. So,
Yeah, I don't
okay.
think, I do think that there was an audio problem in
Okay.
in a couple spots of those.
Okay, so hold on. So I can try and share screen.
Okay.
And just to clarify, he did say that it didn't apply to forestry or to agricultural roads. He did, that was.
So the road rule did not.
That's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
It applied to farm and forestry. That's what you mean.
Yeah, agriculture roads and
Right.
farming.
We're exempt.
and-
We're exempt.
We're
Right,
exempt.
but it applies to personal property owners that
If you-
may work on a farm that
Right.
might have the land handed down to them, so,
Or if you wanna start one.
yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, what defines farm, what defines,
through your driveway.
Yep.
Okay, gang. So this letter. There's our letterhead. I don't know, we haven't had a discussion about selecting a letterhead, so I just did it myself.
Yeah, that's fine.
You did a good job. So,
Sorry. All right.
anyway, this is a 4-page letter. The 4th page, I'm sorry.
Short and to the point.
Well, yeah, but you're right, because, and Lori and I drafted this.
any other time you don't want it short, right?
Lori and I drafted this together and we have been trying to get up to speed as fast as we can. There are a number of templates that we have found, whether it's via social media or wherever, where towns are stepping up, like, Whitingham most recently published something on their website. And so that was like a 1-paragraph kind of thing. So there's a number of communities which have done a 1-paragraph. Then there are others who have sort of a template, which is 2 pages. We started, I think, Lori, correct me if I'm wrong, but we started with kind of the 2-pager.
Yeah, we did.
I added the last page, which is our Wyndham regional map. Because you'll see in here, so I apologize, so I'm just sort of explaining the format. We added that map because it's something that members of the community understand. So if this letter makes its way onto our website, anybody can look at it and say, okay, well, that's my property. And this is what it means in Halifax under our current universe. And I'm trying to make the point that, okay, folks who don't know us, whether you're our legislators or you're whoever we decide to send this to, because maybe we want Governor Scott on here, that's a whole different discussion that we can come back to. But those people need to see, well, look at this little town and look how much of this is dark green. It's already in a conservation district, and look how much of this town. So anyway, that's why, so when we talk about 4 pages, that was what I was thinking. And I haven't seen any other town do that, so maybe it's a bad idea.
So I am going to suggest, kind of just to the broader picture, that this be very targeted, that it be targeted to our legislators at this point, because they're the ones who have the power to make a change right now.
Vermont League and City, VLCT asked to be included
And
as the advocacy.
I'm fine with that.
And Vermont Land Use and Review Board really needs to hear from us.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
They
really needs to hear from us. Stephanie and Rebecca need to hear from us because they're the ones who are going to be in charge of us.
Um,
And they need to know we want to repeal, not delay. They're the ones that are, people are, the legislators and the governors, and they're listening to them.
I think what we're like, the objective here is to get this law changed, correct?
And they have a big seat at the table talking about it. They have a big seat at the table.
I don't know how much is being done at the district level.
And when I talked to Matt.
Yeah.
And he called me the other day.
Did he want to be copied? And I'm fine to do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Did he suggest that we go to these guys?
He did not.
Okay.
He did not.
I'm not sure like,
What's the downside?
what does it hurt?
Like what I
They're
said
all- they're
earlier, we're
emails.
trying to sell something, you send it to everybody.
Send it to everybody, and I can
Just
think of
where they may.
5 more people to put on here, like the governor and like a
I
lot
think
of
the
others.
governor should be on there.
Yeah, I do too.
All right,
Governor Scott.
so let's go up here. We'll start with the governor.
I'm not in favor of sending it to the governor.
Whoops.
Just gonna say that.
Why?
Because it's not the right time. He doesn't have anything he can do at this point either.
Right, but his team does.
He'll know how we feel.
He's. Yeah, but we could send something at the time when he is deciding whether to sign something.
How many?
Maybe too late.
Right, and now we got to get back together and write another letter. Let's just do it once.
Hmm.
Right?
Yeah, I will just say, in some parts of my life, I have been a person who writes to my representatives, and the more I can make it personal to me, but also brief, because they've got a lot going on. We want them to be able to get to the point
Oh, they'll get to the point.
right up front.
Exactly. They will get to the point. And if he doesn't want to read it, somebody on the
Yeah,
staff
well,
will say,
it's
put
just
this in the,
Sending it to one more person
Yeah.
that may or may not
Okay.
even, it may not even matter. But we're just, I feel, doing our due diligence to do that.
Okay. Let's,
all right, so why don't I read it? So we're starting with the Town of Halifax Select Board is writing to register our deep concern about and show our support for the concerns raised by other Vermont select boards regarding the implementation and consequences of Act 181. Well,
so,
let me just read it and then let's go back. Let's not
Okay.
nitpick
Okay.
every word yet. While generally supportive of the stated goals of the act to address and promote Vermont's housing needs, while being sensitive to conservation matters, we are deeply concerned that the unintended consequences of Act 181 have not been fully and publicly explored, and that the implementation, as written, will unfairly and significantly damage the current and future property rights of our state's rural communities, including Halifax, and serve to unfairly and directly hinder the rights of Halifax property owners who may wish to develop their lands in the future. As you know, Halifax is a small rural community with roughly 700 residents. We are concerned that the Act's proposed restrictions do not appropriately consider the fact that many single-generation and multi-generational families in Halifax are already successful stewards of their own land, emphasis on their, and subject to existing current use and A&R regulations. As you can see, according to the Wyndham Regional Commission's draft map attached, much of the land in our town is already in a rural conservation district with nearly an equal amount already designated rural agricultural and forestry. And if anybody knows what that percentage is, that would be great, but I'm just doing it visually. We are unhappy that Act 181 has progressed as far as it has in the legislature without a thorough public explanation at the rural community level. We are only now discovering that the translation around how properties are designated between the attached WRC map and how Act 181 designates Tier 1, 2, and 3 properties is not explained anywhere that we're able to find. Absent direct consultation with those to whom this letter is addressed, we are unable to share information with our resident and non-resident landowners on a matter of direct and immediate concern to them. We do not want to allow poor communication from the state to impede or restrict the current and future economic health of our community. We caution the Land Use Review Board and our legislature that further restrictions on our landowners could have substantial impact on multi-generational families, farmers, and all other landowners seeking to own and maintain their property for the future. For example, the road rule placing restrictions on driveways longer than 800 feet or a combined roadway/private road network longer than 2,000 feet requiring Act 250 permitting above the zoning and permitting already in place is a source of immediate concern given the permitting and project timeline and cost implications on landowner ability to use and develop their property. This is further exacerbated by the unavailability of parcel level maps, draft or otherwise, showing how each parcel in Halifax will be treated under the Act 181 rules. And I recognize that Edie showed us a map, but I hadn't seen that. And Lori hadn't seen that. We understand that S325 is now in the House for review. We understand that if not rejected now, that this is set to become law on July 1, 2026. We are registering our opposition to the enactment of the law, given the lack of robust public comment afforded a small rural community such as ours. It is the opinion of members of our community that the state's projections for how to manage our land have no business in what many of us consider our life savings, our right to ownership, and our livelihood. We understand and support the restrictions that are widely seen as beneficial and which have been good for Vermont. We are not seeking to restrict further growth and development. Maintaining our rural landscape with careful, steady growth strategies over time is already part of our town plan and zoning rules. We believe that the evolution of the town plan and zoning rules are the responsibility of the town and not the state. We are grateful to learn that on April 9th, 2026, our representative Emily Karras Duncan joined 56 of her other rural caucus colleagues to register their objection to the pace and key elements of the legislation's content that is currently in process as the legislature approaches the end of the session. We are grateful for the Wyndham Regional Commission's ongoing help in navigating some of these issues, and we look forward to a meeting with them on this topic on or around May 12th, 2026. We recognize that the WRC's involvement with Act 181 is advisory rather than legislative. In order for our meeting with them to be most effective, we believe that attendance by our legislative members and/or members of the Land Use Review Board is warranted. We need to understand your rationale for voting. If a meeting with our legislative representatives and/or members of the Land Use Review Board can be held prior to the final vote before enactment, that would be ideal. We would be grateful if you would provide us with your availability as soon as possible. We are concerned that if enacted and unchanged, Act 181's land use restrictions will impose an unfair economic burden on not only our landowners, but also the town of Halifax's overall economic stability in the future. As such, we strongly encourage you to do all in your power to, 1, remove, or 2, pause pending comprehensive rural comment from the town of Halifax as many of Act 181's restrictions as possible, including but not limited to House 70. And I'm not quite sure, honestly, how this works out, but maybe you do, Lori. H70, because this is part of a template that a lot of the towns are using on their 2-page letter. Use existing current use law to meet conservation goals and prevent skyrocketing land costs. H602, repeal the road rule permit requirement and extend Act 250 relief. House 730, require notification and property tax reduction for Act 250/181 designation impacts. H805, streamline Act 250 permitting and provide property tax relief for restrictive land use designations. H749, remove requirements to permanently preserve 30% and ultimately 50% of Vermont land from Act 59. I guess that's something that's been around for a long time, since the 70s, the 30-30 and 50-50 rule, which I'm just learning about. In conclusion, the town of Halifax is opposed to increased regulations under Act 181 in proposed Tier 2 and 3 areas. The road rule is currently proposed and supportive of any amendments or drafts of Act 181 that would remove these burdens on our rural landowners and their rights or abilities to develop their lands in the future as allowed within our existing land use permitting processes and procedures. We require access to parcel-specific maps showing how each parcel will be impacted by Act 181. We need you to tell us which parcels within Halifax borders will be Tier 1, Tier 1A, Tier 1B, Tier 2, and Tier 3. Please also tell us what the dispute resolution process is going forward. Thank you all for the important roles you play in advocating for what is best for our town and our state. We encourage you to be wise moving forward and hope you will take the time to speak with us directly and share our concerns as you tackle this legislation. And respectfully yours, and then spot for us to sign. Oops, that got messy. Hold on. Let me get this here. Not sure why this isn't doing what I need it to do. Paginated funny. Deletion. Okay, then we get the town of Halifax, and then this is the last page, which is the map. And it should say that it says draft, so we'll do that. Because that is a draft map, but this is the map, I think, that most folks in Halifax will recognize.
I haven't seen this yet.
Who hasn't seen it?
this map. This map is a map that Wyndham Regional Commission has developed to put in the regional plan, I think. I don't think that I think this map is what we're gonna talk about on May 12th.
I think so. So here's West Halifax. This little purple bit is where we are right now. Where are we? This is 112 right there. Then this is Branch. Right. This is Green River and Share Hill. This looks like Hanson. That's Share Hill comes up here. Anyway, this map, just the reason we wanted to include it is because anybody who this is addressed to and doesn't know us will look at that and say, wow, there's a lot of green there already.
What are the other colors?
So I'm sorry, I thought most people saw this. So this purple color is town's village center, which I think is West Halifax. It's where we're sitting right now. The yellow is what they call rural general. The blue is rural agriculture and forestry. And all this green is rural conservation. And in the presentation that Wyndham Regional did, this workshop for municipal officials that we didn't attend, didn't know about, but we got the paperwork. Let me just tell you real quickly what those colors mean. Was in here. Okay, consistent. Sorry, guys. Good. Rural general, which is the yellow. Areas that promote the preservation of Vermont's traditional working landscape and natural area features, low density residential and sometimes limited commercial development that is compatible with productive lands and natural areas. This blue, sorry, we'll get over here. Let's get over here. The blue is rural agricultural and forestry. Blocks of forest or farmland that sustain resource industries, provide critical wildlife habitat and movement, outdoor recreation, flood storage, aquifer recharge, and scenic beauty contribute to economy and quality of life. Rural conservation, which is the green stuff, areas intended to be conserved. Read it. Sorry, areas intended to be conserved, often with regulations or state or nonprofit purchase of property rights. These lands have significant ecological value and require special protection due to their uniqueness, fragility, or ecological importance. So that is the letter.
So how do you want to go about talking about the letter?
Yeah.
So I have comments that I have put in a document. So on the, let's just walk through it if that's okay.
Sure.
All right, and I'm not giving you all the stuff because I would have made this like one page if it were me.
Which we can still do. I mean, the point then, if we're going to make it one page, dear people, here's what we're up to. Repeal it.
Yeah.
Truly yours.
So
that would be like a paragraph, and we can do that.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like I want them to get the message, and I just know like how incredibly busy all of these people are, and I want them to get the message clearly. And I think less is more, less can be more.
Okay.
So the very first sentence, I kind of cut out the deep concern, and I just said the Halifax Selectboard is writing to register our support for S325, delaying the implementation of Act 181.
We just said here we wanted to repeal it. So
up front, let's say that. And that this was written before this meeting, right?
Oh, yeah.
Preparing for this. I think I want to just kind of talk a little bit from this rural caucus news letter, is they're actually suggesting that they make amendments to Act 181 rather than delays. And they talk about repealing tier 3 and repealing the road rule.
They do.
I don't think that they're talking about repealing all of Act 181, which has a lot of other components to it, right? They're talking about repealing those two sections.
But I think the town of Halifax doesn't know what tier 2 means. So I don't know that just because somebody else hasn't told a little town like us what tier 2 means, I don't know that we like it. We don't know what it is.
So
I think all of 181 should go away because it should all go away. And then they've got 3 years to come back to rural Vermont and say, hey, how does this work for you?
they're gonna have to write a whole new law.
And they might,
And that's-
but they
and
should have done it right the first time. They've had this since
if-
2024.
But what I want to say is, if what we're gonna say is we want them to repeal Act 181, then there doesn't need to be a reference to S 325 because we are saying, S 325 doesn't do that. To Randy's point, we might get part of what we want, but not all of what we want. I think one of the things as I'm going through this, I'm just like, Act 181 is a done deal. It is a law. What they are talking about now is trying to change to change that law. So there's a lot of comments in here, we're not.
I thought it didn't go into effect until July 1st, and that's what they're talking about. That's what went to the House.
So the law exists, and they're talking about delaying parts of it, and there have been requests to repeal parts of it. I haven't personally heard anybody say the whole law should go away. I mean, because again, keep in mind, parts of the law are trying to make it easier to build housing in village areas, right?
Which doesn't apply to our town.
Correct.
So we get to talk about our town as our town.
Okay, so, but the whole, I guess, so, in the context of the process of giving legislative feedback from a body, we want to be clear about what we're saying, and we want to say it in the first sentence.
Well,
So that's what,
Well, if we want to do that, we need to keep the words deep concern.
Yep. And show our support for the rest of Vermont that are also
Mm-hmm.
saying regarding, and then instead of saying, then we write here, after due consideration, we believe Act 181 should be repealed, period. That will get their attention if they care.
Well-
For what 700 people think. I don't know, maybe they don't.
Okay.
I mean, so. And I agree that this is too long. I totally get it. I totally get it.
turn it.
So. All right.
I think it was very well written. I wanted to say, I think you guys did a great job writing this up.
Yeah.
There are a few things that I don't like for sure,
Well, let's run right to those.
but I don't think it matters because I think the best thing to do is just like you said, let's get to the point. After consideration, we are concerned. We feel as a town that this should be repealed. 181 should be repealed. That's what I feel. I mean, I could certainly tell you what I didn't like, but
Well, we should, because then
All
we
right,
should
so-
talk about it.
paragraph 6 on,
Believes that
let's see,
181.
but again, it doesn't really matter because hold on. You want me to read it while you're typing?
Yeah, where we, no, just go to.
Paragraph that's
What is it?
6. It is the opinion of members.
Got it here. Yeah.
Okay, so that paragraph, I would say that it's like a scolding. And in the
Okay.
middle of that, there's a little, I'm going to use the word coddling, where it says, we understand and support the restrictions that are widely seen and beneficial and which have been good for Vermont. So it's like, we're scolding you, but I don't know. I didn't like that sentence in there personally.
The we
We
understand.
understand and support.
Okay. I think the point
I
was,
know what point you were trying to make, but I just,
was that Vermont does a lot of good stuff for the environment and will probably lead the country in some of the stuff that Vermont does.
I agree, but to my point earlier,
Okay.
as I said, when we were trying to sell something, you have to sell it as hard as you can because they're not gonna listen to us, I don't think anyway. But
Okay.
I hope they do.
Lori, feel free to pop in with yays or nays since you did a lot of the drafting too.
No, I mean, I think Randy's right. Go at it pretty hard. We don't even know if they're going to read these letters at this point. They've probably been inundated with so many. We've seen a lot of them. here and there on Facebook and wherever else that have a lot of towns have these letters going out. So who knows if they're even going to read it. So maybe, yeah, it's best to just cut to the chase.
Okay. Yeah.
And
I'm
that's just
happy
my
to see
opinion. There's, Rhonda, and Edie, I don't know, whatever anybody else wants to do.
I like it. I just think that we should just cut to the chase, do
Sure.
one couple sentence, short paragraph and sign it, send it. That's what I think.
So you would be in favor of a one paragraph?
That's what I was saying, yeah. That's why I said it doesn't make any point for me even to say.
I mean, it could, it could, it just all comes down to what is the.
Because like Edie said, they have a lot of stuff to read, and if it's a one paragraph.
Oh, they have.
No, I understand,
They have
but.
staffs, they've got, it's their job.
Duncan doesn't
They
have
gotta
staff.
do their job. No, she doesn't have staff.
Like, this is who's gonna be the next person to vote on it is Emily, and we already have a perspective for what her perspective is.
All right, can I read you, and Lori, if you have a couple, let me first read what Whitingham said. This is Whitingham, one little bit. So Whitingham addressed it to Act 250 rulemaking, House Environment Committee members, their legislators, Governor Phil Scott, and advocacy at vlct.org. Subject, opposition to Act 181. Dear Senators, Representatives, Committee members, and Governor Scott, we are writing on behalf of the residents of the town of Whitingham, a small, rural, southern Vermont town, to express our opposition to Act 181. While we recognize the importance of addressing housing needs across the state, Act 181 reduces local decision-making in ways that do not reflect the realities of rural communities. Small towns like ours lack the infrastructure, staffing, and resources needed to absorb growth mandated without sufficient local control or flexibility. One-size-fits-all policies risk undermining the character of small rural communities and placing financial and operational strain on towns with limited capacity. Local residents and elected boards understand our lands, road, water systems, and environmental constraints best. Act 181 shifts authority away from this local knowledge, making it harder for rural towns to plan responsibly and sustainably for the future. Bold and underlined, we urge you to reconsider this approach and work collaboratively with rural municipalities to develop housing solutions that respect local conditions while addressing statewide goals. Thank you for your consideration and your service to Vermont. Another.
So I have the town of Franklin. Do you want me to read the town of Franklin, Vermont?
Sure.
This is like a page and a half. Is that okay with everybody? Try to read fast. Attention to Senator Randy Brock, Senator Bob Norris, Representative Lisa Hango, Representative Wayne LaRoche, Vermont Land Use Review Board, Vermont Woodland Association, Vermont Sugar Makers Association, VLCT, NRPC, State of Vermont. It's the opinion of the town of Franklin Select Board that Act 181's regulations do not effectively respect the rights of rural property owners, and furthermore, the Act's imposed restrictions are not equitable to rural towns such as Franklin. An aspirational vision of conserving the natural beauty of Vermont should not be translated into state-imposed. Future land use projections that undermine property owner rights and municipal control. We support all bills and ideas being considered that will reduce the impact of Act 181. The state's future land use projections have not been informed by our families, our efforts, our stories, or our history. Although the formation of our country includes the government claiming control of rural lands from rightful owners, the tragic consequences to Native peoples and rural farm families have since been made clear. In our opinion, imposing state-level future land use restrictions and organizing all land into connectivity blocks to impose limitations and state-level reviews on municipal-level road development only continues this tragic legacy of claiming control of rural lands from the rightful owners. It also does not take into consideration the fact that families, as stewards of their lands for sometimes more than 10 generations in Franklin, also are custodians of historic rock walls and ancient roads and ruins of old schoolhouses, Civil War activity, and industry. These structures and ruins may not show on our current E911 registration or our state maps, but they are often utilized and woven into the activities of our community for multiple purposes, including education, maple sugaring, farming, and recreation. Act 181 restrictions will be felt more severely by rural towns such as Franklin, which insults the integrity of hardworking custodians of these lands and this municipality. The town of Franklin is a mid-sized town in Vermont by square miles, but has held about the same population, 1,268 as of most recent census, for over 150 years. At 40.8 square miles, Franklin is about half the square miles of the largest town in Vermont, according to Vermont's open data portal, but with significantly fewer financial resources. Franklin has only 1,006 taxable properties, 25% of these being seasonal camp properties on Lake Carmi, with no opportunities for local option taxes, and has no enterprise funding. Our grand list is just over $1.6 million, and our total expenses, government activities were $1.7 million. Franklin is a small bedroom community and it is not affluent. The extra fees and restrictions that will result from Act 181 could realistically result in the end of many family farms and maple sugaring enterprises. The majority of these already have careful land management practices in place to meet their obligations for current use land management, NOFA standards for land care, Franklin zoning regulations, Agency of Natural Resources, permitting, and more. Furthermore, any new restrictions on development in Franklin could undermine the town's ability to grow in its grand list to pay for its own governmental activities, including road maintenance, town clerk operations, zoning and town administration, and more. Navigation and enforcing Act 181's requirements locally will result in undue hardship to our municipality and their families. Maintaining our rural landscape with careful, steady growth strategies over time is already embedded into our town plan and our zoning bylaws. We are concerned that, if unchanged, Act 181's land use restrictions will impose an unfair economic burden on not only our landowners, but also the town of Franklin's overall economic ability in the future. As such, we strongly encourage you to all in your power to pull the brakes on as many Act 181's restrictions as possible, including but not limited to the same list: H170, H602, H730, H805, H749. Thank you for the important role you play in advocating for what is best for our state. We encourage you to be wise moving forward and hope you will share our concerns as you tackle this legislation, and signed by the 5-person select board in Franklin.
And if we have time, I've got one other from the town of Highgate. Not quite sure where they are.
You know, I hate to say it, but like at some point, let's write our letter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but all right, so
That's
it's kind of so it's kind of the same thing. So if there's something we want to model about, so why don't we go through and then we can take out sections that we don't need. So I don't know how.
Yeah, like I would take out this whole section listing all of those laws that I've not looked at all, right? Like H70, H602, like just get rid of that. It's not, I don't want to put something in our letter that I haven't.
Yeah,
I haven't looked at myself, right? It's not it's just boilerplate from somebody else.
And also leading up to that, it said, talked about pausing or,
yes, because I didn't know,
so-
right, Lori and I didn't know where we were gonna be, so if we come back up to that. Sorry, guys, if I'm making you dizzy. Where was it? Is it?
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, sorry, guys, let me find this. You're right. Oh, right there, duh. Thank you. As such, we strongly encourage you to do all in your power to remove. Get rid of that. To remove pending comprehensive. We'll have to go back and read it, but anyway, that takes that piece out. Do you want to include the map or not?
No.
I don't think we need to. I think they know what the map is.
Map or no map?
Oh,
This guy.
well, I think that was quite interesting,
But is it interesting to the governor and is it interesting?
well, it
to the
should
other-
be.
Well, it's true.
What's it hurt, you know?
Well, the
All
way I look at it is if we're asking them to just get rid of this and we put the map up there, it's like,
This map would need.
Well, the only thing it does is it shows there's a big hunk of, we're already doing the conservation thing. And we have a little teeny tiny place, so it's not like
we
the,
talked about that in the letter, doesn't it say
Right.
something about that we?
it does, yeah, it does,
So-
but I think a picture goes a long way.
Sweet.
All right, anyway, let's get back up here. Sorry, guys. Let's see what we got here. The town of Halifax believes that Act 181 should be repealed in its entirety. While generally supportive of the stated goals of the act, blah, 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 we are deeply concerned that the unintended consequences have not been fully and publicly explored, and I think that's true. We're a small rural community. I'm sorry, Stephen?
No.
Oh, back there. Because it's talking about current use. Talking about the draft map. What do you want to say? Do we have, I'm sorry.
Since it's not clear to me what, like, we might keep at this point, can I just make a couple of key points? In the second paragraph, or the second paragraph, we have 770 residents. According to the last census, so whether that's still accurate, but that.
The reason I picked 700 is because 700 is, there were a couple of maps. There is the state of Vermont Senate districts for Wyndham, and it has us, oh, you're right, 771. There you go.
I was gonna say 772, but I just left.
There you go.
770s.
Yep, 771.
Okay. All right, let's go down to the paragraph that talks about 800 feet. So
Yeah,
so that's incorrect. It's backwards. The restrictions are roads longer than 800 feet, not driveways
Right.
longer than 800 feet.
oh, it's roads.
It's roads.
Do we need to define, the reason we talked about defining it, and maybe we don't need to, is a lot of it was just for our own community. And if this is sitting on our website, what does that mean? And who's gonna
Yeah.
answer
Yeah,
questions?
Send it to the state.
Yeah.
We don't want to send something that looks misleading.
No, definitely not.
Right?
Yeah.
Definitely
So
not.
I
mean-
feel like,
Do we need to,
it
then we
is
don't need to
roads.
define the road rule.
no, they know what the road rule is.
Right, so we don't need to define it.
Yeah.
Right, so we can just say, we caution land use for farmers and landowners seeking to own and maintain their property. For example, the road rule, period.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I cut this entire paragraph in my version. But let's move down to, again, I just want to correct the things that are errors in my.
Right, but you said I had an error here, so it's on
Yeah.
roads.
Yeah, it was, on roads longer than.
8.
Okay, and then in the.
And is this right? Driveway, private road network?
Yeah, that's,
That's correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. And I don't know about it being combined, but it's, it's not
There's
incorrect,
a total of 2,000 feet.
right?
Yeah, it's a
Or
network, so, yeah.
Right, so if it's 2,000 feet of a driveway, or if it's, 1 foot of road in 1999, whatever, anyway. Okay, so to the paragraph that said, we understand that S325 is now in the House for review. And you're saying, we understand if it's not rejected now, this is set to become law. The reality is, if S325 doesn't become law, then the old Act 181 stuff is what becomes effective.
With no delays.
With no, it's set to become law on July 1st, 2026.
Okay.
But we want to be in favor of S325 or something more stringent, right? Or
Okay.
something that's my goal, is to say, don't tell them to reject, don't tell them to vote nay on S325 if that's the last firewall we have.
I just want to make sure I understand. If S 325 goes through, all this becomes law on July 1st.
No.
If
Road-
S 25 goes through, as it's drafted now, it puts the delay in. But if
325 includes the delay.
325
Okay.
includes the delay as it stands today.
Okay.
So I said, we understand if it is not passed, portions like the road rule are set to become law on July 1st, 2026.
All right, run that by me. We understand that if it is not passed, portions,
Like the road rule are set to become law on July 1st, 2026. Okay, so that was the other
cute.
error. All right, I don't know the rest of it'll matter if we get to it, I guess. All right, thank you. Those were the ones where I was like, oh, it's backwards
Yeah.
from what I think you intended.
Yeah. Nope, that's good. I mean, we can take out the conversation around Wyndham Region.
Yep, I would do that.
But it just, to me, it felt like it was a good plug for, people who are really good partners of ours.
Let's. Again, I'm just trying to say, like, what do we want them to do? Give them one thing to do. And don't like.
We're not being really strong with a lot of this stuff. I feel like,
okay,
again, we're not saying we would like you to repeal this.
Okay.
We're saying that's what we want to say, I think.
I think what you were trying to do was say why we didn't like aspects of it.
Yes.
But I don't know.
Because again, I'm trying to do too much. Lori and I were trying to do too much.
You
We were
did,
trying to
again, you did a very nice job
get
of
this.
putting together a lot of data.
But if this goes out, right, hit send and it goes out, it will end up on our website and people will look at it on our own
We could
neighbors.
we could put it on our website, but we don't have to. I mean, it's
Well, I think we
correspondence.
should. I mean, this is important.
It's correspondence, and we could. But
I mean, I
but-
would assume. Anyway, so people will find out, people will look at it, people will hear, and then they're gonna have a lot of questions. So
But we're
we're
not-
gonna field answers to these questions.
But we're not trying to make this an
No.
informational letter. We're trying
No.
to make this a letter
Yeah.
to the state.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So
if people have questions, they certainly can contact us, but
they could
or their
also-
legislators.
yeah,
That's-
they could
that's
contact the
what
people
they
who
should
are
do.
actually writing the law, which ain't us.
So
And
then
we
we
could
can,
put just a thought, we could put a note on the website saying, we sent a letter. We could put the copy of it there if you want. We could also encourage people, however you feel, please contact your legislators.
yeah, we could put the letter up and then say, here are the email addresses for the
This is
governor,
what you
for
as an
your
individual
legislators,
can do,
for whatever,
however
here it
you
is.
Yeah,
Here's the land use review people, the same way that we're sending it to.
I
Right.
honestly love the idea of helping us all become better citizens because this stuff is complicated and I don't know how many people in this room have actually written a letter to their senator or representative on any level.
This is my first.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not something people get trained how to do. On the other hand, like right now, I think we want to get the letter done and do our thing. And then maybe we can think about if this was useful. I mean, I don't know. If we can tell people come to another thing to talk about how do you contact your representative and here's how it works. If people think.
So we take out this sentence, we do not want to allow poor communication, so maybe that's a little snarky. Take that out.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact is what they basically saying, you did this, and then we can just say, we caution the board and our legislature that further restrictions. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
We mentioned the road rule. So we don't need to do this. To maintain the property for the future. Just looking at, for example.
The last sentence where it says this is further exasperated,
Uh-huh.
to me, that's not holding to our strong. It's kind of saying, but if you don't listen to us,
Where
All right,
Um,
let's see if we can.
under the 800 foot, 2,000 foot,
Right, so if we say, for example, the road rule is a source of immediate concern, given the permitting and project timelines, this is further exacerbated by the unavailability of parcel level maps.
Right. In other words, it's saying we don't really need to tell them why. We're just saying we don't think it's,
So we don't have to say there's no maps. Okay.
yeah, I don't think we do.
Okay.
And in fact, there are some maps, but we haven't seen them.
Yeah, but they're
And they're not
pixelated and they
updated.
never stand up in court and I just think the landowner, the burden is on the landowner to say what it means. So far, until we see something better. Okay. All right, we understand as certified opinion members of our community, the state's projections for how to manage.
Can and I'd like to, like, I know you want it to be strong, but I want to be fair that there are some people here who are saying
Yeah.
it's the opinion of, we can say many members of our town, but not everybody in the town, including me, and I'll debating whether I'm going to sign the letter in the end, right? I think we want to just be clear that we've had this discussion, and not everybody feels the same way, but that's wonderful. But
But you voted as a board.
It's
4-1 too.
We could.
I would think that you'd want to leave it as repeal, not as many people think is repeal.
What we're saying here is, it is the opinion of many members of our community that the state's projections for how to manage our land have no business in what many of us consider our life savings, our right to ownership, and our livelihood, which needs to be corrected because it needs to be a single word.
Well,
so,
okay.
yeah, livelihood, sorry. English major, can't help myself.
I know I did that one and it corrected me.
But I mean, like, here's my thing. We start off by saying we have deep concern, and I'm kind of in the boat of, I have concerns, but I'm not panicked. And I feel like a lot of the emotion that's here is almost like a sense of panic. I'm not panicked.
Oh, I disagree. I don't feel at all panicked.
People are like, what's going on?
I think people, the words that I heard were angry and betrayed.
Right.
Right.
Don't
Did you hear
trust
that
what's
tonight?
happening to. Yeah, sitting right here.
Did people say betrayed here?
Oh, yeah. Sitting right there.
She did. Okay.
Right here.
Okay.
She left.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, people, it's not, I'm not at all, believe me, I am not at all panicked. I think the unintended consequences of 181 will be felt by this state for generations, and I'm brand new to this state. But it will be felt for generations, and we won't know for a long time how bad it really is. So I am not at all panicked.
Just like Act 250 was since like what, 1970 when that was implemented.
Yeah, and I mean, I think some of us might think that some aspects of Act 250 have managed to maintain a pretty decent quality of life in Vermont. Like,
And we are one of the poorest states in the country because there's been no business moving here for whatever reason. And that's a whole different planning thing. But there's a lot going on. I'm sorry?
First part of what you just said, a little louder.
What part?
The poorest
You
state.
just said to Edie.
I've already forgotten it. Seriously.
Said it was the poorest state.
I think we are.
Move here.
Yeah, I think.
What did you say, Edie, that prompted her to say that?
I said that I thought that we had a pretty decent quality of life. I mean, we might not be the richest state, but damn, it's beautiful here, right?
Oh, it is. And
I mean,
this
that's-
is why I moved here, for sure.
Yeah.
It's
Dude,
gorgeous.
that's what it's-
I love it
like-
here.
I feel like everybody's just kind of struggling to hold on to what we have left.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
And
It
we
just
are,
gets more and more and more.
our taxes are super high. We don't have a whole lot of people
And then they
and
start doing this, and it's like, okay, so I've busted my butt for all this property. I
Mhm.
think that's why everybody's so worried. Then you can't do anything to that.
Yeah, so
yeah, I don't think it's panic. I think that's a bad word.
I would say I'm probably pretty panicked about it because I
Okay.
mean, okay, we're sending how
Okay.
many towns are sending out all these letters, but is it actually going to go through? Is it going to make a difference? I mean, we're trying, but are they just going to do what they want anyway? So
I
I
don't
mean,
know. And that's why there's a part here that asks our legislators, one who has said, I'm on the rural caucus side, and two, that I believe the senators have passed it. I think they voted in favor of this.
okay, but did they vote in favor of slowing it down?
I have no idea.
That's
I have no idea.
and I don't know-
Honestly, and so that's a very great point. It was passed.
It was passed by this, what was passed by the Senate is to slow it down, right?
Right.
181 is done deal.
Right,
And
right,
we can look and see who voted for that, but so I I guess what I'm saying is I don't know how our senators specifically
Right.
voted on this issue, and I'm not sure.
But we would like to know, maybe they should come tell us. Maybe
Yeah,
they should have a big meeting
Yeah, we
for
can look
Wyndham
at it for sure.
Regional, and the three of them should just come tell us what they.
You can go to individual pages on the website of each senator or each representative.
And see what they voted by.
Yeah, so then you can go down,
Okay.
scroll to the bottom of the page, it will say voting record on each.
Gotcha, okay.
The bill itself, you can
Gotcha.
look up and
Yeah.
find.
Right,
Yeah.
right, and,
Okay.
and yeah, some of the stuff I was reading said it was a voice vote, so I didn't know if everything got recorded. And
Okay.
so, yeah, anyway,
Caitlin
okay.
wanted to say something.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, Caitlin.
I just think that I was trying to make a comment to kind of get this going, but if the majority of the board is for repealing it, let's continue the letter. And I think you mentioned earlier, anybody in this room can write a letter to the senator on how they feel.
Correct, but I would like the letter to reflect, and this is why I was.
I'm not saying that.
Yeah, and it did, we got it in
Right.
there, so
Yeah.
let's move on.
But real quick, is this a letter from the board or is it a letter from the town?
It's a letter from the select board.
Because we voted to do this letter
We,
at the
we,
last.
we voted, I don't know if we voted, I think we just said, let's have a committee to do this, right? Let's not a committee, but let's ask a couple.
Let's draft a letter, and we
Yeah,
said,
let's draft-
let's draft a letter, because I
We're
think.
drafting a letter, and now we're gonna
Right.
finish the letter, and then we will sign the letter. You know, again, we will, let's see if we can get this down to like about half the size that it is at the moment.
Okay.
Still.
We can take out WRCs.
Yeah, let's take out WRCs, you know, like, again,
We can definitely take out that. Let's leave. Matt was very like, the regional groups, the 11 regional groups are sending information up to the land use. So they're sending information up. And then Matt made it very clear that what they're doing is advisory and not legislative.
Mhm. Yeah.
So they're just trying to do their best for
Yeah.
their communities, for us.
Yeah.
So I mean, if we don't want to put that in, that's
I'm not sure.
that's fine.
Karen, just to point out, the regional commissions have absolutely no regulatory authority.
Exactly. That's what he was saying. It's advisory.
Yeah.
Is advisory rather than legislative, period.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay. So I like,
so we can get
This-
rid of.
Yeah.
Well, I want to keep them in. They're helping us navigate these difficult issues.
no, I was looking at something else. We were starting to talk about the economic interests, and that's
Keep
what.
it in there then, Ken.
So this piece, we are concerned that if enacted and unchanged, Act 181's land use restrictions will impose an unfair economic burden on not only our landowners, but also the town of Halifax overall economic stability in the future. That's something I'm hearing, correct? So,
Yeah.
so.
If people can't pay
I
their
like that.
taxes
I
and
like that
can't,
one. I
you know,
like that
we're,
sentence.
we're
Okay.
doomed.
Big tax
Okay.
sale.
Okay.
Agreed.
And so we're gonna keep that. That's what I'm trying to say. Let's keep stuff.
So wait a minute, as such, we strongly encourage, as such, we've already asked them to repeal the dang thing, right? So we can just get rid of this,
I think so.
right?
Yeah, I think so.
Lori, we can get rid of this
Yeah,
sentence?
yep.
In conclusion. We're opposed to increased regulations under Act 181 and proposed tier 2 and 3 areas, the road rule as currently proposed. In support of any amendments or drafts of Act 181 that would remove these burdens on our rural landowners and their rights or abilities to develop their lands in the future as allowed within our existing land use permitting. I think that's okay.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Do we require this? Because supposedly we have it, but I mean, I think that the dispute resolution is important because nobody talks about that. And this-
I think because again, like they're drafting the how and like this guy said, we have a plan where people can say my land is not mapped correctly. And then the rest of it is part of processes that have already been in place, right?
The
So
burden's on the landowner.
the burden is on the person who's doing development with a capital D, right? I mean, he talked about some stuff being like, we don't want to restrict you for small bean stuff. Talking about somebody who wants to come in and put in a data center or something, right? So, anyway, I would say if we're asking them to repeal it, and we know now where to get those draft maps anyway, that paragraph can come out. And I'm just not sure if we're asking them to repeal it, like
That sentence
yeah,
doesn't need
that
to be there.
doesn't, it just
'Cause
doesn't
it's
follow.
Well,
contradictory.
no, it then belongs someplace else.
No, not if we're asking them to repeal it,
If we're asking to appeal, that is correct. That is
because
correct.
otherwise it's,
Correct. It's a moot
it
point.
looks weak.
Yeah,
Sorry, I keep using that word.
you're right, though. Okay, so we can,
Can you save a draft
and,
and then take the changes out
Yep.
so we can read it more
Yep.
easily? Thank
so
you.
this would be file. I think I can.
You must have good eyes. Can you see that?
I can't.
I need a magnifying glass.
I cannot. All right, so the problem is that's track change. Okay, so sorry, I have to go back and forth here, so let me close. Let me go back in. This
At
one.
this point, I just got computer glasses.
Yeah.
Very nice for working without my neck straining. I was doing
What are
this.
computer glasses?
Computer glasses are something that's set up to see for me right here, and
Oh.
I can't read. But and I have to do this if I want to see detail out there. But instead of doing this with my neck all day
Yeah.
long, trying to get my bifocals in the right space, it's like my neck is feeling so much better now.
Well, I usually wear reading glasses, or lately have been, and I found that tonight with that thing that far away, I can see
I
it.
know, it's like your arms get very long
Yeah.
when you get older.
That's cool. I didn't know they made them.
Yeah.
That's true. You are doing this. Cause you gotta get them little babies down here to work.
Yes, point your nose where you want to see.
So if anybody, some candy magically appeared here
Oh.
tonight, so if anybody would like a piece, pass it around.
Some senators did vote for the pause.
They voted for the pause.
They did.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Nancy.
So we're preaching to the choir,
Reporter fact check.
sort of.
Research.
Okay, and so we said we're taking this map, like, now I can't remember.
Let's take it off.
Lori, what,
I think we should take it off.
Either
I
way,
guess it's, yeah.
I mean, I think that map was drafted because of Act 181, that they now had to change the.
But wouldn't it be
They-
nice to have that map with sections
three.
of the tiers listed on that map? If that's their
It's not-
intent is.
It's not the same. It's a different alignment, and there was a very nice chart that I remember seeing in that presentation. I do recommend that people try to go see that, watch that thing, because it really gave a lot of explanation that was helpful. But this is not, it's not easy.
If I remember correctly, in order for Wyndham Regional Commission to get their regional plan approved, they had to update maps.
Yeah.
According to Act 181.
Yeah.
That's probably.
That's what
the
that
reason.
is. Yeah, yeah, but it's not,
but you can't get from
that's
here
not,
to there.
it's a different layer. So
Yeah.
it used to be that people could be, a village or a little hamlet.
Did you have
And
the
those two
map in
things
here?
now are in a broader category. So it's an alignment.
It's an updated, supposedly updated. map
Yeah.
According to
Yeah,
the Act 181.
yeah, okay, yes, yes.
So just so I reference it in the article correctly, the presentation you played for us, that was
Yeah.
done with the regional.
Yes.
Wyndham Regional Commission?
Wyndham Regional Commission has the, they have a nice box on there that a lot of the stuff I read from at the beginning. And then they have a link to this recording of this meeting that was held on, I believe, March 17th. Yeah, and our other Wyndham Regional Commissioner, he went to it and sent us some brief notes. But again, this is not, like, yes, 45 minutes of my life, but I felt like I understood what this stuff was, a lot better after watching it.
Thank you.
This sentence here. It may be duplicative. We are concerned that if enacted and unchanged, Act 181's land use restriction will impose an unfair economic burden on not only our landowners, but also the town of actually, it's our economic stability. I think
Yeah,
we
no,
actually
that's
do
good.
need that.
Yeah.
We do need that. Never
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah,
We can take out, from looking to reduce, take that out. Being grateful for Wyndham Regional,
Yeah,
but they are helpful.
Yeah.
well, we do love them.
We love them.
I have a big
They're-
crush on Chris Campen.
They're
It's
all-
really good. And,
Right,
and
this-
also Matt is, been good to work with too, and Mike. So anyway,
all
they're
of
very
them.
helpful.
All of them. But this will, right now, once we sort out the signature lines, will be 2 pages.
Okay. All right, so
That's
let's,
better.
A lot of it is, and actually a lot of it is just empty space.
Can we read through it?
Sure.
Okay.
All right, all these folks. The town of Halifax Select Board is writing to register a deep concern about. Our deep concern about what? Our deep concern about.
And
Sure.
Concern about and to show is what it said, so we can
It's a little
deep
confusing.
concern.
Deep concern,
yeah, and this is where,
our deep concern.
Yeah, there's a little duplicity there, so.
Or deep concern,
yeah, that's,
we got it.
right?
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let me get rid of that while we're going. Deep concern regarding the implementation consequences of what we want. The town of Halifax believes, right, I'm sorry, I'll be more clear. The town of Halifax Select Board is writing to register a deep concern regarding the implementation and consequences of Act 181. The town of Halifax believes that Act 181 should be repealed in its entirety. While generally supportive of the stated goals of the act to address and promote Vermont's housing needs while being sensitive to conservation matters, we're deeply concerned that the unintended consequences of Act 181 have not been fully and publicly explored, and that the implementation as written will unfairly and significantly damage the current and future property rights of our state's rural communities, including Halifax, and serve to unfairly and directly hinder the rights of Halifax property owners who may wish to develop their lands in the future.
I think we can remove one, we've
Sorry.
got deeply concerned in there multiple times, so
Yeah.
I'm thinking, up here, we are deeply concerned, the second one, just say, we want to be sensitive to conservation matters, comma, but the unintended consequences. Yeah, I'll take that second duplication out,
Okay. Except.
and then,
And then before we do that, just because I think we had the comment here. This one, can I pull this up
yeah,
here,
yeah,
here?
yeah, put it there. It's kind of the reasons
Yep.
altogether.
I'm gonna accept as I'm doing this.
Okay, and back to that same sentence I already had to change once. I want to take the but out there, so it will read, while generally supportive of the stated goals of the act to address and promote Vermont's housing needs while being sensitive to conservation matters, the unintended consequences. I don't think we need the but in there.
Nope.
Okay.
Okay. Do you want me to start back up and read? Or do you wanna, everybody just go through it themselves?
Are you gonna read it?
I can, I don't wanna,
Go ahead. Yeah.
Edie, can I,
Yeah,
can I start from
go
the
ahead and
top?
Start from the top again.
So that's gonna be 2 pages. Sorry, everybody. All right, back from the top. The town of Halifax Select Board is writing to register our deep concern regarding the implementation and consequences of Act 181. The town of Halifax believes that Act 181 should be repealed in its entirety. While generally supportive of the stated goals of the act to address and promote Vermont's housing needs while being sensitive to conservation matters, the unintended consequences of Act 181 have not been fully and publicly explored, and that the implementation as written will unfairly and significantly damage the current and future property rights of our state's rural communities, including Halifax, and serve to unfairly and directly hinder the rights of Halifax property owners who may wish to develop their lands in the future.
Can we make that 2 sentences? It's really, really long.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, after publicly explored.
And have not been public explored, period.
Period. Okay. The, yeah,
Implementation.
yes.
The implementation, okay,
So,
kind of keep reading.
yeah, do we want to take, we've got unfairly in there twice too. I'm just trying to say. Implementation as written will unfairly and significantly damage the current and future property rights of our state's rural communities, including Halifax. Maybe put another period in.
All right, I'm sorry, I don't know where you are. The implementation is written,
Just about-
will,
Yeah, about where your cursor is, go back 3 and
unfairly.
After Halifax, right?
after Halifax.
All right, what am I saying?
You're just gonna go back, take the and out and put a new period after Halifax. So we're making it multiple sentences.
Okay, wait a minute, have not been fully explored. The implementation is written. Current and future property rights, including Halifax, period.
Period.
Okay.
Yep.
And then we have unfairly and unfairly. Why don't we just say,
And directly
yeah.
get rid of
Yes,
this.
yep,
But what goes before that now that I have a
just
period?
it
It
may.
directly hinders
It
it.
yeah, directly hinders, yeah, you could put the S there.
Yep.
Okay,
It directly hinders the rights of Halifax property owners who may wish to develop their lands in the future. We're concerned that if enacted and unchanged, Act 181's land use restrictions will impose an unfair economic burden on not only our landowners, but also the town of Halifax's overall economic stability in the future.
okay.
Yeah.
Let's be done with that one.
Okay. As you know, Halifax is a small rural community with roughly 771 residents. We're concerned that the Act's proposed restrictions do not appropriately consider the fact that many single-generation and multi-generational properties in Halifax are already successful stewards of their own land and subject to current use and A&R regulations. We caution the Land Use Review Board and our legislature that further restrictions on our landowners could have substantial impact on multi-generational families.
Let me just say that above,
Uh,
like,
Was that the paragraph
Yeah.
we moved up?
maybe.
I think it is,
Okay, I think we got it in.
Let's check.
like-
I'll just-
Twice.
but we have it twice up here.
So.
Hmm.
We must mean it.
We must
Let's
be.
take out
we
the one
must
we
be
don't want.
Doing collaborative writing, and it's always hard to catch everything.
Yes, no, good catch. So this paragraph,
Is it there though? Let's just
I don't
quickly,
think it is.
let's look. Go.
Up.
No, it's not.
All right, so we
No.
have, at the bottom of this one, we have many single generation and multi-generational properties. Let's go down to page 2. Do we use that same phrasing again or something? Yes, we got multi-generational okay, it's just, all right.
Well,
Do we say the essence of that above? Do we talk about multi-generational properties? yes, we talk about them already being successful stewards of their land.
Yeah, but we're not cautioning the land use review board.
Okay.
So we can move this sentence,
Just a sentence up.
this. Let's see what happens. We are concerned. I mean, it ends up being the same. Ends up being the same. Hold on, let's think about it. We're a rural community.
I think it's different because you started out with the land use.
Yeah, so if we go here. And we can put that there. So we're talking about, we're concerned, and then we caution the land use review board and our legislature that further restrictions on our landowners could have substantial impact on multi-generational families, farmers, and all other landowners seeking to own and maintain their properties for the future. As you know, Halifax is a small rural community, and we're already stewards of our own land.
Okay.
Then do we need this road rule anymore
I think
now?
you're talking about putting the we caution the land use review board somewhere else, weren't you?
I popped it up here.
Yeah.
Oh, you did, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
I think we could take that out. I mean, I don't,
It seems like, it seems like that could come out.
Okay.
the next sentence
Let's
we say,
accept that.
yeah,
Let's accept that. So let's do this. Accept. Let's not lose it. Okay. So we're cautioning folks, we're good stewards. We understand that S 325 is now in the House for review. We understand that if it is not passed, portions like the road rule are set to become law on July 1. We're registering our opposition to the enactment of the law, given the lack of robust public comment afforded to small rural communities such as ours. Is that why we're registering our opposition? Do we need a stronger statement there, Randy?
Just a little confusing, which you want to support S 325.
We do.
right.
So you're saying it through the back door rather than the front door.
So, yeah,
If you tell me we want to support 325, because I haven't read it, so.
it's basically, again, they're changing dates on stuff, right?
Okay.
And
Well, then let's say that we understand that S 325 is in the House for review.
yeah, the next sentence.
Can
says
we say
understand
basically it's tier 3 and the road rule will be road rule.
It's actually just the road roll part that I'm comfortable saying. In the next sentence, we say that we understand if S 325 is not passed, portions like the road rule are set to become law on July 1st, then I would say, yeah, we want to take out the registering our opposition because that's the new law we want them to.
Okay, so we are registering our opposition to what?
I would say we are registering our maybe
To Act 181.
That's what we started out by saying.
but 181 kind of isn't exactly on the table anymore, right? It's this other law that they're looking to modify 181.
Let's not get into the technical details that nobody understands.
How did we start out with
Everybody
this
else
letter?
in the letters.
I'm sorry?
What was the first couple sentences? How did we actually
The
start out?
whole world is talking about Act 181.
Yeah.
Nobody's talking about 325.
Right.
We said the town of Halifax Select Board is writing to register a deep concern regarding the implementation and consequences of Act
Communicate in its
181.
entirety. So
Thank you.
I don't think we need that other part.
Thank you, good night.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate
Thank you so much.
Can I say you're trying to get this in right away because they're gonna get together and vote.
Yeah, this is going on
I
the,
don't know when they're gonna vote.
Yeah, but
They're
this,
just taking
but-
testimony.
but the session ends pretty soon and then
The only thing they're voting on is 325, right?
That is the law, that,
As far
yeah,
That's what's up.
right, that's.
is Act 181 part of 325.
325.
Pause on 181 on those two issues.
So I think we should leave it at,
181 essentially.
Yes.
So you want,
So if we get rid of 181, we don't need an amendment.
but
for
that's
20.
not up right now. There's no bill to get rid of it yet.
So maybe we
one-
can say something like, in lieu of a complete repeal of Act 181, please deal with, please proceed with S 325.
Right here?
No, further down, back in the paragraph where we're
We
questioning.
understand that?
Yeah.
So we should say
so-
in lieu?
No, next sentence, so. Instead of we are registering our opposition to the enactment of the law, take that out and we're just gonna say, in lieu of a,
What did that rural group say? Cause you read that at the.
yeah, in lieu of a complete repeal of 181, of Act 181, this, passing this will, help ease our concerns, or will be,
Yeah, it
will
gives
be,
them,
will
it gives
be a
them,
reason.
it gives them a backdoor to delay
Well,
it, that's all.
Give,
We don't
it
want
gives us
to-
time, more time.
We did, but we're trying to tell them, like, if, we're trying to tell them what we want them to work on.
All right,
We
so
want
let's
to
tell them,
fix-
tell them we support these dudes.
Yeah,
We're back.
We support, because it says at the very end, this is the rural caucus.
Yeah.
Says based on,
how about if we say passing S 328?
while the process sought in H 730 has not yet been realized, Vermonters have worked to inform themselves on the impact of 181, and what they're being generously silent on is because nobody bothered to tell anybody. Have worked to inform themselves on the impact of 181, and many are not supportive of how this may affect their land and their communities. Based on what we've heard, 2 points stand out. First, if nothing else, the delays included. So we should, do you want us to just say that? Just say in. Let's do this. Hold on. Let me try something here. So let's do this. Cut. Paste. So we're good stewards. We're grateful to learn that on April 9th, our representative Emily Karras Duncan joined 56 for other rural caucus colleagues to register their objection to the pace and key elements of the legislation content that is currently in process as the legislature approaches the end of the session. Then what they're doing is they're saying we should make amendments to Act 181 rather than delays. The amendments include repeal Tier 3 and repeal the road rule, do something that none of us understand.
Yeah.
So can we say, thanks, Emily, for doing your thing? We concur, can we say that?
Yeah.
We concur with the rural caucuses, we may have to change how do you spell it? I can't even spell. Rural caucuses recommendation that
maybe we
that if nothing else, that, because we said this at the beginning, that, I mean, not in the letter, that if we can, that quote, I'm gonna say quote, if nothing else, the delays included in S dot 325 must pass this session. This session, lowercase. Yep. Session, period. We don't need to talk about anything else. Boom. We further agree that we further agree that
repealing
repealing both Tier 3 and the road rule. We further agree that repealing will be in the best interests of our community. period.
Okay,
And what
and-
I personally don't understand
Yeah.
is what the heck's going on with tier two, and I mean, do we need to repeat, I mean,
The only thing with tier two is it's basically business as usual. Except for the road rule. So it's like nothing changed there. It's not harder, it's not easier to do anything, except for the piece about the road rule. So
We
that's,
think.
that's what was on the recording.
we can say we reserve, how about this? Say we reserve comment on,
But
I don't think
on-
we need
we
to,
don't need to
We
because
don't.
we're just trying to,
get to the point of what we're concerned about. We have not talked.
well, we might be concerned about repealing tier two, but none of us knows what it means.
You've already set up above, you want to repeal the whole damn thing.
Okay.
So
Right.
like,
Okay,
don't worry about it.
like they're gonna listen to me. We further agree that repealing both tier three and the road rule will be in the best interest of our community. We understand. We understand that we don't need to mention S 325, correct?
We've kind of done it above, I
Right?
guess. Yeah.
So we can say we understand that if it is not passed, portion, if,
Well, let's just take that one.
I think we should take that whole thing.
Take that
We don't need it.
They already know all that.
Yeah, they got that. And
They-
the bottom piece too, the in lieu of that
our
we
good,
just
our
did.
good friend Nancy knows this. So, taking it out.
It's Mr. Google.
We further agree that in lieu of a complete repeal, we
just
can get rid of
delete
that.
Yeah,
We can get rid of that.
okay.
All right, so let me do that. Let me do that. Okay. All right, now can I read it?
Yeah.
Please.
All these folks, and then the town of Halifax Select Board is writing to register our deep concern regarding the implementation and consequences of Act 181. The town of Halifax believes that Act 181 should be repealed in its entirety. While generally supportive of the stated goals of the act to address and promote Vermont's housing needs while being sensitive to conservation matters, the unintended consequences of Act 181 have not been fully and publicly explored. The implementation as written will unfairly and significantly damage the current and future property rights of our state's rural communities, including Halifax. It directly hinders the rights of Halifax property owners who may wish to develop their lands in the future. We're concerned that if enacted and unchanged, Act 181's land use restrictions will impose an unfair economic burden on not only our landowners, but also the town of Halifax's overall economic stability in the future. We caution the Land Use Review Board and our legislature that further restrictions on our landowners could have substantial impact on multi-generational families, farmers, and all other landowners seeking to own and maintain their property for the future. As you know, Halifax is a small rural community with roughly 771 residents. We're concerned that the Act's proposed restrictions do not appropriately consider the fact that many single-generation and multi-generational properties in Halifax are already successful stewards of their own land and subject to existing current use and A&R regulations. We're grateful to learn that on April 9th, 2026, our Representative Emily Karras Duncan joined 56 of her other rural caucus colleagues to register their objection to the pace and key elements of the legislation's content that is currently in process as the legislature approaches the end of the session. We concur with the rural caucus's recommendation that if nothing else, the delays included in 325 must pass at this session. We further agree that repealing both Tier 3 and the road rule will be in the best interests of our community. It is the opinion of many members of our community that the state's projections for how to manage our land have no business in what many of us consider our life savings, our right to ownership, and our livelihood. We're not seeking to restrict further growth and development. Maintaining our rural landscape with careful, steady growth strategies over time is already part of our town plan and zoning rules. We believe that the evolution of the town plan and zoning rules are the responsibility of the town and not the state. In conclusion, the town of Halifax is opposed to increased regulation under Act 181 in proposed Tier 2 and Tier 3 areas. In conclusion, the town of Halifax is opposed to increased regulation under Act 181 in proposed Tier 2 and Tier 3 areas. The road rule is currently proposed and supportive of any amendments or drafts of Act 181 that would remove these burdens on our rural landowners and their rights or abilities to develop their lands in the future as allowed within our existing land use permitting processes and procedures. Thank you all for the important roles you play in advocating for what is best for our town and our state. We encourage you to be wise moving forward and hope you will take the time to speak with us directly and share our concerns as you tackle this legislation.
I'd like to make a motion that we sign this letter as written.
Somebody writing this down?
Emily is writing it down, hopefully.
What do we got here? 9:34. Edie. Move to
I am
What did you
here.
say?
Sorry, I'm writing stuff down.
sign letter
As amended.
as amended
Did you want sign and send?
and send, because I can send.
I assume somebody
Okay.
will send it. I'm not.
Yeah, I think what we'll do is a just sort of logistic. I'll rearrange this, I'll have to run in there and I'll get it printed. This is gonna be hard with Lori, because originally I thought we might have a spec more time. Lori could sign it. And then I'd get the scan with her signature, and then we would sign on top of her signature, so it wouldn't be obvious that she wasn't in the room. But if we're gonna sign it and then I'm gonna send it tomorrow, that makes it harder.
What do you mean sign on top of her signature?
If I sent this to her like
Oh,
this,
on the one.
Yeah,
right, and she scanned it and signed it and sent it back, we would just sign.
You have a printer and a scanner there, Lori?
No, but I'm hoping I can go to the office and see if they'll let me do something like that. Otherwise, what other options do we have?
Well, you and I could figure out your signature. I could take that page and run around to everybody's house.
Well, I'm just wondering if we should get the
Can
bulk,
we sign a draft
the bulk
tonight
votes to
and
sign
then-
it, and then
I guess.
we can do something like, Lori can send an email or something and we can reference an email signature or whatever. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
I
Okay,
mean, we could also scan what we have and she could try to print it and sign on top of ours, just the same, right?
Mm.
Then we
yes,
have-
exactly.
Then we
Yes.
have it done with 4.
That's a
and
better
we
idea.
Can't get the 5th, you know.
That's a better
But
idea.
we do want it.
We-
I don't
I
like.
should have brought my printer with me. I should have brought it.
That's okay. No, I think I like Edie's idea. What we're gonna
Hmm.
do, we're gonna sign it. And then when I get home tonight, Lori, I'm gonna scan it and send it to you, the signature page.
Okay.
To sign the signature page. Scan it and send it back to me, and the one you send back that has all 5 of our signatures is the one I will attach and then zip out tomorrow.
Can't you sign somebody's signature with their permission?
No.
No, not doing it.
In absentia or something like, you can't do that? How that works?
I would want to figure.
I mean,
Thank you,
Thank
Stephen.
you, thank you, Stephen. Thank you so much.
Good night.
All right, so any further discussion? No, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Did somebody second?
I, Oh.
Who did?
Rhonda?
I'm sorry, apologies.
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
I'm deciding if I want to abstain.
all right, I'm voting aye.
Okay, so we've got 4 on the ayes. What is my, again, I'm pretty transparent and I have issues with this. The board has made a decision and my vote kind of doesn't count. But I'm just gonna be clear, I'm probably gonna write a letter that talks about some points that I don't think this letter from my own self, right? So, I want to be clear to people, like, I appreciate that we had the representation that we did here, but I have different
Yeah,
perspectives.
no, you got your own,
So
absolutely.
with that, what do I do? Do I say, yes, let's send the letter? I guess I'll
Well,
just,
you're representing the town,
yes.
not at this point, so.
Yes,
If
yes.
the town has said,
Yes, but I mean, again, we don't always have to all 100% agree. I'm just trying to.
no, that is true.
Through the political process, it's okay to be in the minority sometimes, if that's what you believe. So, I said, let's sign this letter and send it, and, I think I'll abstain as opposed to saying nay. Just gonna abstain.
On what
from-
basis do you abstain?
Mhm.
What are the rules about abstain? I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not
no,
disagreeing.
but
with
if you sustain the vote, will you still sign the letter? How does that work?
Yes, in this case, I would sign the letter. So just again, like points of discussion, like the history that I've had. There was another time that the board made a decision on road reclassifications. And I didn't agree with the other 2 people on the board. And I talked to council and they said, you don't have to sign the letter. in that particular case. So this is a different situation. So again, I did not know what the outcome of this meeting would be before I walked into the room. So I'm just trying to say like, I don't know.
Can I?
You know, like if I vote yes and then I write my own letter, people are gonna get mad. Well, people are mad at me anyway, so it doesn't really matter and I don't care.
But if you're, there's your role on the select board and then there's your role as a resident and taxpayer talking to your legislature.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. Yes.
Those,
Yes.
presumably, we're allowed to be two things in that case.
We are allowed to be two things and just as a like it's not often that the town of Halifax has weighed in on issues like this. I'm giving you, the history because I've had more time on the board. There was another occasion where something came up and it was like one of those contact your legislator now. And I just went ahead and did on my own, like I said, this is not an opinion of the board. This is just me, but it was pertinent to something the board did. So anyway, all right. I'm gonna vote yes, we'll send the letter as long as it's again, people just need to know that I think
you should make the
Exactly.
decision that you want to make. I'm gonna say
Yeah.
that.
We all make decisions.
I agree.
Y'all don't agree.
You're right.
We agree.
I don't agree a lot of the time, but.
Well,
So are you signing it or not? I got the.
Signing the letter.
I'm gonna sign the letter and then I'm just trying to figure out what my vote should be. And the vote was, should we send this letter? And I'm like, yeah, I guess we should send this letter. So I'm gonna vote yes, even if I don't agree with all the content of the letter. So that's what I've changed. I've changed it to 5-0. Done. Okay.
Okay.
All
All right.
right, give me a moment and I will get this printed.
Okay.
Sorry.
We do have one more thing on the board that I want to talk about that I put on the agenda at the beginning. Find that information.
Oh, there's our ride. We gotta go. The bus is here.
Really?
That was 2 hours ago.
What bus?
All
All right, so now this is gonna be, wait, so now I'm gonna copy this. Hold on.
Jeez, I'm stabbing myself. I think
We're not gonna go take any, but I'm having some.
Did you eat dinner before this meeting?
A little bit.
Paste,
6 o'clock.
rename, and this is gonna be,
Oh.
wait a minute. What? Change, wait a minute, I just lost it. Just let it go. 941. Copy. Paste, there we go.
What time did you write down?
Rename. 91, so that's gonna come anyway. That's gonna be, boom. That town of, this is gonna be.
This is pretty.
I think so. No.
Copy.
Over, where is he? There he is.
Mhm.
He's costing, but, so.
Anybody want a piece of candy?
Yes. You run it down here, Rhonda?
I'll be right over.
Okay.
So, where am I? Hold on, I got lost. Got lost. Oh, I'm still sharing here. Hold on. I don't want to do that. Now I lost everybody.
I've got one of those.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
I have a cousin.
Where'd everybody go?
And I were like, it's on the library.
There we go.
Karen?
I need to. Stop, I apologize. There we go. Stop sharing.
So, there was.
Stop sharing.
So, yeah.
That,
Things might just.
that.
Anything for Twitter.
Your dad was and David's brother.
Oh, I have to copy this one. Only prints in.
So I'm not on these things.
Sorry, it's gotta be scanned or it doesn't print.
Yeah.
Well, I mean.
It's got-
She's in a different gear.
Yeah.
Let me, I'm converting it, then I'll run in there and get it.
Yeah, and if
Then I'll
it's not
print it.
PDF, you can't find it.
Yeah, and it's converting slowly, so.
Sorry.
Well,
What is it doing? This is some-
I know, they're not handy, but
No.
some things they are.
yeah, no, it's just that like to have to convert a
Yeah.
file format in order
Yeah.
to print something. I mean,
Yeah, now it just hung up. Just hung up. And so. Whoa.
Done?
No, I might have blown it up, but we'll see. I need to get out of. Need to find what I'm looking for. Just explode. Save. Save. There.
Boy, that was fast.
There it is. Okay.
can I bring up my other issue?
Copy.
I'm listening.
Okay, now I want to make sure everybody's listening.
I will be in a little bit.
Let's see.
Did everybody have a good day today?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah. Drove a bunch, but yeah, it was good. Had a good morning and afternoon, and
That's it, we're
now
done.
it's dark.
Ours going.
We didn't pay that bill.
Yeah.
That's Karen.
So I have on email. The question from barely, it's, you know, I can stress over, I can spit to the best.
Yeah, well, it's a long one, so you're not far from that and done.
That and Deborah.
Oh, Marion, this would be quick. Oh, you- That girl's already sitting in to just kind of zip through it quick. Uh-oh.
We have opinions.
Well,
We have
remember when
opinions.
you said
So I
about, you and Karen having strong personalities when you were talking about.
I do.
Tonight was beautiful.
Just.
There was no,
Illustration of that.
yeah, no elevation of voices really tonight.
Yeah, that was your dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Messed up that.
Okay, it's not printing, I don't lose it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm still about. You know, trying to get back into some kind of shape.
Marion, did I see a different car in your yard today?
Well,
No, there was a white car in your yard yesterday. Yes.
Donna,
Okay.
she came up to my house and went with me to Brattleboro.
Yeah, I wasn't from today. Yeah.
Took the dog to the vet and he was running around.
Yep. I didn't know if you got a different car, but you still have the same car? You still have the same car? Yeah, it was yesterday. We drove by yesterday afternoon.
I'm not used to, we have something.
How's your mom doing?
Just a second.
What color is your pen? Blue or black? Looks black.
Does it need to be black?
It can be black.
You wrote black.
I usually do, so. That's old school when people didn't have color. I don't know.
It's like, can't tell now anyways.
As long as it's not red.
Yeah, that would be, would not be good. Oh, this is cool. This is a nice pen.
Hey, feel free.
Okay, let's get to our last agenda item here, so we can move on.
There you go, my dear.
All right,
Lori, I will go home and.
Okay,
process.
we'll figure something out somehow.
Okay.
I will on my end as far as.
All right, so hold on. So we've got 9:49.
Yeah.
Signed letter.
all right, so,
Casey will get Lori's signature. Okay.
okay, I got an email delivered to me, where people are trying to do something that is, kind for our, some of our town employees. However, my concern is that this is a violation of the town's employment and personnel policies. So because it was concerning to me, I did reach out to the LCT, and they are recommending that we get some further consultation before we take any action on that item. In order to kind of get this dealt with, I'd like to suggest that I try to meet together with Randy and have that conversation. So there's two of us there, and then we can bring it to the board, with an idea of some possible workarounds or just their advice so that we can, I mean, it's not gonna be, I personally, it's like one of these things that I just feel I'm gonna be the bad guy, and that's just how it is, but I would like to make sure that we handle it as gracefully as we can, and do it in a way that hopefully we can come to a good resolution.
When you say further consultation, what does that mean?
That means that they have given us a referral to this organization that's part of the PACIF group.
Okay, no, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, so.
Sure.
So I don't, like, again, I shouldn't, I'm not intending to make any decisions on my own.
Yeah, I don't
And
need
I
to
just
read that,
need
but
some help.
if it's PACIF with, so
Okay.
I just wanted
Yeah.
for purposes of the minutes.
Yeah.
Further consultation with PACIF.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, is that okay with the board for us to proceed with that? And then, again, I hate to say it, but like from a timeliness perspective, we might need to have another quick meeting on it. But we won't be able to do that until at least we contact them and get a schedule.
Okay.
Appointment with them, and then we'll bring it back to the board. So, all right, that's all.
Good idea. No, I think that makes sense.
it's-
You gotta dot your i's and cross your t's, and I
Yeah.
think anytime residents are trying to do the right thing, that we figure out a way for them to do it.
This is.
Um,
I don't know what it is,
I
so.
don't either.
I have a vague idea, but
yeah, it was, originally it was discussed in an executive session, but now I have information that came from outside of executive session. So that's why I'm being a little bit like, again, I'm gonna look like the bad guy, but I don't know if I need to look like a bad guy until we talk to these other people who might be able to help us understand the situation.
I think it's a good idea to talk to folks who know how to deal with these matters.
Yeah,
And
this
leave
is
it at
not,
that.
this is not something that comes up every day in our town, so, I know. Yeah, and I mean, again, I'm like, I do this dance, like I wanna be open in open meeting law, but then I don't want to put out a perspective that might not be the perspective of the whole board, or, or what.
I think you've done the right thing. You've consulted, they've given you advice, you're gonna follow that advice, and so that's it. And then once it comes back, then it's like, okay, what happened and what was the resolution and why? I think that's an appropriate way to proceed.
Okay. I get told sometimes I'm too transparent, but I also know, like, this is a small town and I wanna be, and I'm only one person in it, so anyway, sorry that I'm
No,
feeling a little like I'm not blurting the whole thing out.
It sounds like it will be resolved. Sounds like it'll be resolved quickly, so.
So you want to have a meeting, you and I?
Yeah,
As
so-
the town liaison?
Yeah, so what we can do is, as a town HR, as the HR liaison to the highway department, I will email them and ask for this referral. And if you can just, I used to, maybe I still do have a list of when your shop is open, so I would avoid those
Okay.
times. Okay, so we just kind of figure that out, when you and I can meet, and then when they can meet, and then, yeah,
So this is something to do with highway?
yes.
Okay, are we done?
But, I mean, I'm sort of like getting a little hint about what this is about, and I won't say anything, but unless I'm supposed to, but it's not, I don't believe it's anything that's
It doesn't influence, it doesn't impact. It's not saying that there was a problem with the highway department. If
Yeah.
that's- If that makes it a little bit clearer.
Oh, Crystal. Got it right in my head now. That's exactly what it is.
Don't worry, it's,
Yeah, I don't
Let-
think it's
let-
anything
let us-
anybody has to worry about.
Let us take the burden of it.
Yeah.
Okay, this is, don't stress. Yeah.
So I will, so we'll talk
Okay.
about when to meet, and then we'll, I guess, talk about it as a board afterwards if we need to.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Personally, thank you, you and Laura, for writing that letter to begin with.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys all coming here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you much,
Yeah,
Leanne.
thank you
Big
very
help,
much.
Input from people.
Yeah, everybody.
Okay,
Rhonda?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we adjourned.
for a second,
Second,
Good girl.
all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, sorry.
Motion carries 5-0.
9:56 is the time,
It's 9:56. Yep,
It was
and now we just need to hear recording stopped.
and now we have to use the other keyboard and stop the recording. All right, thank.
Night, everybody.
Thank
Thank
Good
you.
night,
Good night.
everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Take it easy. Good to see you, Marion. 9:56.
Yeah.
And I